joined by Mr. Ray Maupete, the former Caps junior
Always,
player, always there. The unpopular,
always there.
sometimes unpopular Ray. But yeah.
Someone has to take the other road. When you walk, someone has to go.
Yeah, someone has to be real. And today we're joined by Mr. Malcolm from the States. How are you, Mr. Malcolm? How was your day?
I'm doing great. I had a great day. How was your
Yeah.
day?
Yeah, good. Very cold, but yeah, what can we do?
Yeah,
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 really
yeah.
good.
It, it's still day this side. It's like 2 p.m. right now, so
Oh,
I'm still yeah,
okay. Oh,
yeah.
interesting. Yeah, that's good.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, hopefully we there's so much to discuss. When we last spoke by after the Zim Carter match, we thought the next episode would be a very short one. There's nothing to discuss, but like Michael Needs said, Zimbabwe has a lot of drama. Within the past week, there's been a lot of
Yeah,
drama. A lot
yeah.
of drama. There's always drama. Yeah. So I'll just do a roundup of the drama. Then we head right into it. Yeah. So I think at the beginning of the week, we had the Zimbabwe president's wife handing out toiletries. Like a Dr. Amai handing out toiletries to the mighty warriors. Yeah, it was very interesting. Very interesting reactions came. Who talk about it? Last week we praised Mapis, but yeah, I don't know.
Hmm.
Yeah. Then yeah, Scotland won the league, and Zimbabwe and the Islanders survived. And it looks like the Scotland boss was fired by Scott even after winning the league. Um, that's very interesting. And we've just learned, I think today or yesterday, that Mapeza is coming in as the Scotland boss. A very interesting change again. And then, as of today, we've been learning that Ray, your former team, um, he has relegated Ian Bakala to the assistant coach, and Chiragui is joining as the head coach. And he's also joined by Tinashe Ngomasha and a bunch, half of Ngezi Platinum is joining Chiragui at Caps. So that's interesting as well. Then again, FC Hunters were celebrating winning the Eastern Region Division 1 League. And we saw the Mandurondera City Council coming out to announce that they're going to be renovating Rudaka Stadium because of that. But yes, from yesterday, we're hearing the shock that Ng'ombe Aoras is seemingly taking over FC Hunters. Not been confirmed, but those rumors seem very real. And it's very funny that a team from another division seems to be taking over a franchise in the same way that happened last year and changing the name of that team. And seems there's no merit in winning that league. Then the Super Mario was unveiled, and he had his initial press conference. So we're going to review the press conference. After the press conference, they then announced the 55-man squad, the provisional squad, with interesting takes there. uh, so we've got the likes of Bonnie, they are back in. The likes of Mudimu, they are back in. Then we've got Billiat is out, but Sona is in. So yeah, very interesting roundup. So Ray, where do we start?
Let's start with the little issues out the way and go to
with
the
the
big
little
ones.
issues. Okay, yeah.
Sure.
Dr. Mike,
Yeah.
what's your view on?
Do you know? Yeah, yes, that one. Yeah, yeah. I don't know. We just love drama. From the time I was from I think from as back as I can remember until when we had a TV at home. My sister-in-law, my grandma used to watch The Bold and the Beautiful, right? There's so
Yeah,
much drama in that thing that at first I thought, maybe it's interesting. But until today, the same
yeah,
characters there. I'm telling you, from the time I was 10, I'm talking about today. I'm talking 40 years,
Yeah.
30 something years later.
yeah,
The drama is just too much. The drama is just too much. I'll give you an example. See, I have kids. When one of my daughters turned, getting into that puberty stage, my wife was like, and they said it down into the changes that are going to happen and all that, which is the normal thing for a man to do, right? Then started telling her, you need to do this, you need to use this. So then at their school, they said later they're going to have this because they need to let you know, how, it's the work thing that's going on. Good, anyway. To let you know that when they go to the school, these are the girls, we're gonna have this. My daughter just said, I've already talked with my kids, mom. I'm good. I'm gonna be there, but I understand that. All I'm trying to say is that you don't you don't go sit, don't sit on top of a roof and shout. Good, I'm teaching my daughter about pads, about
Mm. Should be
seems,
something wrong with
seems
the network.
we've lost Ray for a bit.
Yeah.
Malcolm, what's your take on this one?
All right. Well,
You're allowed to disagree with Ray.
all right. I agree with what Mr. Mawupete is saying. It's drama after drama, like Michael Needs said. Say Studio 263, as he said, right?
Yeah,
Yeah. To be honest, that was kind of funny to me. I would say.
yeah,
It's not the first time though. I'm not really sure who advises them to do that. Where you have players who are about to go to like soccer tournament, and you come with these
yeah,
handouts. This is senior. These are not under 15s. These are not under 14s. This is the senior national women's team.
yeah,
And if anything, I think it's really disrespectful, to do something like that. Maybe go out there and give them, words of encouragement, or maybe, tell them about like bonuses or something. You guys, if you win, we have these incentives we're going to provide for
yeah.
you and stuff like that. Not for you to go with okay plastic bags with goodies, as they say, to hand them out, like, so that was just kind of funny to me, I'll say. So
Yeah,
yes,
yeah,
that in that whole thing, like, just for me to put it in one word, I would just say it was funny.
yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
But going back to Ray,
Sorry.
don't you think? Yeah, sorry we lost you, but don't you think
Yeah, sorry. I don't know.
Magwizi and his wife are responding to the realities on the ground? Those girls, those ladies, may actually be in poverty. Like I think the goalkeeper. Uh, Is it Cynthia Shonga or Onai or someone? I saw an article I told she had quit football because
Mm.
of Nyaye poverty. She was suffering, she was not earning any money, and she had to go fend for herself. So maybe vakatoona pattern need. These girls don't actually have this stuff.
Um,
Yes, OJ,
Fisher. Okay.
we are not denying that, and we're not denying
Yeah,
that. But you see, like
Yeah.
young Zuniza said, some of these things, look, some of these things you don't have. It's these publicity stunts need to stop. These publicity stunts, why these are grown women, these are women that know when they go on their monthly, the menstrual, whatever. These women know what they
Yes.
need, and you don't have to
yeah,
come into public forum and say, well, we're handing out, the little boxes of tampons, we're handing out pads and all that. some of the policies that's like this young fella just said. Let's be mature about this whole thing. Let's be more critical. I think it comes to our football. Okay, it's not every stunt. It's not like it's not a photo opportunity for for everyone to be seen like, oh, something, let's clap hands. I don't clap hands for nonsense. Let me be honest. I don't clap hands for nonsense. That was nonsense. Okay, that's what I was saying. I was giving the example of my wife, and like it's like me clapping hands for my wife for buying things for our girls when that is her job. She's supposed to do that. No one is going to clap hands for you. You're a father.
Yeah.
It's your responsibility to look after you. No one's going to clap hands for you. Basarako, you need to do that. But you don't go outside when the TM or when they're outside, Woolies and say, yeah, now where's the camera? I'm giving my kids, I'm buying my kids clothes. I'm buying my kids shoes. No. And talk about money, talk about incentives. You're going out there, you're going out there. If you win, we're giving you bonuses. If you do this, we're gonna do this. It's not red drama. Bold and the beautiful. I'm telling you, drama. We just love. I do not know value. So it's like value. I got to know it. It's my turn. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get it. Doctor, so Doctor Amai, please stop it. I think, especially in RSMA
Yeah.
pads and stuff, I think it should have been handled really more sensitive to our girls.
Internally, in the changing room, not like that. So do you know what picture it paints? Do you know what picture it paints? It paints a picture good as if a kids didn't even have their own things. So do you understand that? These we don't have we don't have people with critical thinking in Zimbabwe. We don't have people with critical thinking in Zimbabwe. But one day, some will take it as so. Story now. What picture are you putting out about the players?
Yeah.
What playing about those women? That's so wrong. If you want to be seen, face lady bora, be seen, go and watch trainer. Go there and trainer. Just meet them. Just came, to just give you moral support. People would appreciate that. Not good. You go and buy mama pay them $1 and $2, and then you want to come in. You see, remember that's okay. A foot kuma journalist. Nyema camera ma journalist. Na kamo staura foot
Yeah, seems to have lost faith for a bit. Yeah, problem with this network. But yeah, I think it was really crass. Yeah, it was really crass.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But then so the ladies played today. They won 2-1 against Malawi. Did you ever watch of the game?
Unfortunately, I did not watch the game.
You didn't. Okay, yeah.
Yes, I wasn't at home at that time.
Yeah. I watched the game a bit. The Malawi ladies were better than us in a way. Because probably I think they are ranked better than us in Africa. They always qualify. They've got top players like Tabita Chawinga. I think she's a global star. So they were better than us. But our ladies, they showed a lot of fight in them. They were defending like for their lives, literally, because we were being outplayed. And then they just sucker punched them. And so we won 2-0 against Malawi. And that's a bit of good news. That's a bit of good news. Then
Okay. Oh yeah, I just wanted to add more on that. I think our ladies, if the support was the same for the women's team and the men's team, I honestly think that the women's team were going to reach further, than our men's national team has. Why? Because if you look at these are ladies who just got embarrassed, with the all pads drama, and now they're playing this. It's called Nations tournament, right?
Yeah.
And they just won a game.
Yeah.
yeah, and they just won a game. I've watched some of their games, and I really say, I'll really say, they're actually they're really it's a lot of talented players in that squad.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
they perform better than our men's national team. But
yeah,
because of support, sometimes tournaments they don't even get paid a cent. They come back home, they're just sent home with nothing. It's a lot of scandals, a lot of drama in that women's team, which is
yeah,
unfortunate. But I
yeah,
think if Zifa had the right people when it comes to dealing with women's football, honestly, that division was going to be outperforming our men's side.
yeah, yeah. Welcome, the new member. Is that Abu?
Yeah, browse it.
Yeah, yeah, good, thanks. Welcome to the show. Thanks for joining in
Sure,
for today.
sure.
Yeah, we started talking. We had made a bit of an introduction. Um, we were spoken about the stunt that happened last week with President Magwezi's wife going to hand pads and all to the ladies, and some people were not happy
Okay.
about that. Do you have any thoughts on that?
No, no, no.
You
Let's
don't.
continue. I'm
Okay.
still trying to
Let's
catch
continue.
up some
Yeah,
other
Uh,
things.
all right, that's
yeah.
fine. Um,
Hmm.
so
Sure.
yeah, so again, the ladies won, and we're discussing on that as well. Um, so the next issue,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Hmm.
go on, Malcolm, if there's something else.
That was it. But I'll just
That
like
was
to,
it.
wish
Okay.
them the best. Of course, hopefully they win the
Yeah,
tournament. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Hopefully they win. Yeah, yeah. Hopefully they win. So the next issue we can touch on is the new Scotland won the league right last week, and
Hmm.
yes,
Yeah.
so Ndiraya won the league two times in a row with different clubs. But a few days back, we heard that Scott has let him go. They fired him. We've always had rumors though that Scott didn't really like him, like his style of play and stuff. But
Hmm.
now it's confirmed. Even after winning the league, Scott has decided to fire him, and he has brought in Mapeza. Um, so Mapeza, I think he could be the last coach who won the league before Ndiraya, right? Um, what do you
Could be.
think is? We thought that maybe Scott, if Scott was going to change a coach and bring in someone new, he was going to
Hmm.
bring a
Yeah.
foreign-based coach and or someone.
Foreign
What do you
base, yeah.
think? Yeah, what do you think about that situation?
I'll let my
Okay, I
brother
think my brother
Abu
in the
forward.
state first. Oh, okay,
Yeah.
okay, okay.
Yeah.
uh, for as for me, the way I was looking at Scotland, it's one of the big club which I was admiring much in our Premiership. But for me to take Mapeza to put him as a head coach, I don't agree with him because of the type of football. Because you must remember that the type of soccer is changing every season, every time.
Yeah,
Mapeza, if I look at Mapeza, his style is still old style. Like backwards, those times they were still playing. He's not up to date. If you check how he played, to be honest, to be honest,
Yeah.
yeah,
okay.
yeah, because as a club like Scotland, you see they won the league and they were new team come to Premier. We were
Yeah,
looking
Yeah.
at they're going to take someone from overseas, whereby since they are going to CAF, I don't know which one is CAF or whatever
mm.
championship where they are going
Champions
Champions
after.
League.
League. Yep.
So
Yeah,
they will
Hmm.
need somebody who has got more experience, but to take Mapeza is the same like Cape United did to go and take this coach Chiragui. but with the name of caps, we cannot think they're going to choose somebody who's low coach like that. You know what I mean? So I don't agree with them to take Norman Mapesa.
Okay.
For me, I don't agree with them.
Yeah, well, maybe Ray and Malcolm, you can come in on this one. But Chiragui and Mapesa, are they not league winners in the past? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they've won
You know
Right.
the thing. Okay, continue.
Right. Cape United. Let's start with Cape United.
Yeah.
Makebe Cape.
Yeah.
Look, they brought in
that's my
Bakala.
team.
They brought in Ian Bakala, and yeah, that's my team too. They brought in Bakala, and he did what he did. He didn't get the results they wanted, and actually they were playing in very dangerous waters. They said they merely survived, right? Yeah. And to me, if a team is going to be progressive, okay, you realize we gave this guy a chance, and he didn't do what we expected him to do. Let's get another guy to come in. This is normal in football. This is the normal thing in football. You don't go on the hula loo about it and say, but why is he leaving? He came in, he did his part, he didn't do as they wanted, he didn't even challenge for anything. So they move on. They didn't get rid of him. They just said you stay in the technical department, but we're bringing Chiragui. Chiragui, if you look at Ngezi, he did very well with Ngezi, Chiragui. Besides his Kurawa and Mambama and stuff, but he did well, you know. So my thing is this. Let's let him be given a chance. I'm not going to sit here and say let them give him a chance. And obviously, as a coach, he's coming with players from Ngezi, right? We know that he's coming with players from Ngezi. Why is coming with players from Ngezi? It's a norm. It's a norm in Zimbabwe, especially in Zimbabwe and in other countries as well, where if a coach goes, there are certain players that go with him because he likes them, he trusts them. There's a certain element of trust in those players. Or those players like Mkomadana Ichikasha once put a post kuti, there's a coach and his players, and the coach is a favorite player, you know? So whatever, we don't want to look and say he's bringing them he's going to favor them. No. Let them come in, let them compete. The boys at Capes know some of these players are coming. And, the only ones that will shake are the ones that know Guti. I haven't been doing, very well. So you need to shake otherwise knowing some another player coming in. And as for Scotland, Scotland, let me tell you what they're trying to do. They're trying to be like Chelsea. Scott Sapkwanya is trying to be like Roman Abramovich. But you see, there's a difference with Roman. Roman Abramovich, someone equated him to Roman Abramovich. I'm not the one who's saying that. Someone equated him to Roman Abramovich. You see, Abramovich would come. Abramovich would tell a coach, who do you want? Which players do you want? The coach would say, I want Mushi, I want Abba, I want OJ, I want Zunita. He would get those players. And then he would tell you, now I knew what I want. This is what I want. I want the Champions League. I want the EPL League. I want the Carabao Cup.
Oh, yeah.
If you fail, he would fire you because why? I met my end of the bargain. You meet yours. Okay? But there was never a time Roman was ever recorded or heard or in the media saying, we should be playing like Liverpool, we should be playing like Man City. He never talked about his team to the media. He would just be there at the game, smiling, waving. Even though he knew this guy is not happy, he'd be smiling and waving. He never, all I'm trying to say is, in simple words, he never interfered with how the coach did his thing. He wanted results, and he got the results, or he got rid of you. Norman Mapesa, we all know, Norman Mapesa is the old school. He's the old because of the way he was groomed, with the way he played, with the way he saw things happen. Coach Howard's and he's that type of guy. He stands on a principle. If I'm the coach, let me do my job. You do your job, and I'll do my job. If you cross that line, we all know he's volatile. We all know Kuti. Nkoma does not take things lying down. He will speak up. He's not one guy to shy away. He will speak up. So in the way I see Scotland, the way I see them right now, I don't think, in as much as we are happy he's there, I don't think it's going to be a lasting relationship. Honestly, this is my take. because vachatsikana somewhere manje he's going to drop mwana anofarirwa, and he's going to drop mwana anofarirwa nemuridzi wemari. He's going to do that. He will do that. He will bring in this guy brings us my players that we either had forgotten or we didn't know. You understand what I'm saying? He's got this tendency kuti anoona, he knows kuti uyo apo there's future up. Mfana anonzi Selemani, did you guys know about Selemani before?
No, usually.
But he plucked him from wherever he plucked him from. That boy, he shall. Koma's got this eye, so he's gonna bring in people like that, and he's gonna let some people go, and it's not gonna sit well. And it's very big, and I'm telling you, it's not gonna. And as for Ndiraya, I don't know. We need to put some respect on. We need to respect our coaches. At some point, we need to respect a coach. Ndiraya won with Zimbabwean. He won the title of Zimbabwean, and then he comes over to Scotland. Then he wins, and then he's sacked. Okay, well, to sack a player, it's your choice, it's your prerogative. But I also feel we need to respect him, because we won't know how really good of a coach he is. In Zimbabwe, he is a good coach, but we won't know how good of a coach he really is, because he hasn't been tested beyond our local league. You understand? If he should have been given a chance to go into that CAF, that safari, and let him show us, let him show he prove his medal, like show us who you are, what you're made of. Now Apana, he's back in the wilderness, and now my question is, now where is he gonna go? Okay, my question, I have a couple of questions, like where is he gonna go? 1, 2, if he goes to a team that doesn't have enough, pulling power to players, that doesn't exactly, team is not big. How is he going to fare? How is he going to fare? Are we going to judge him along those lines? Because the truth is this. Gatorei, the Dazzler, Anitka, the Dazzler, besides Barcelona, where they bought 1, 2, 3 players, where they this dense, this soaked academy where they could put players for him to play. The Dazzler goes kunemari and so that they buy players who can interpret his philosophy on the field. And I don't think if he was to go to a team Isinamari, he would do so well. I don't think I like Pep. I'm a Barcelona guy. I like Pep, but the truth is I don't think kuti pound for pound as a coach kumonzi iyo team ya mushi iyo coach na mushi ya kunzi iyo it's I don't think he will pull it off, because he relies on a team that pulls in the heavyweights and pull in the heavyweights and then get them to do that. So, but what I would like for Tonde to do is stand and guide the Kulemo team. Maybe go to a team that respects a name, that respects achievements. You know what I mean? To a team is Jemari, a team that's just stable. Coach, and she show people what you can do, But that was I think to me it was disrespectful to let him go after winning the championship. I know he's not the first coach to be let go, but in other leagues, other teams, they keep a coach until he fails, and that's a part of the thing. Bozapa has done nothing wrong. Look how they came in. There were some points behind. They rose. Kushkavashka kumsoroko. And even though I also question Kushka Kuina Kwao, with Nyenya, yes, Simba Bora, but anyway, that's another story. But I think it's disrespectful on that note.
We'll move on from this issue. Welcome, Kelvin. How are you? Really say.
Ray is becoming too emotional. Worrying about coaches. You don't worry about coaches. Coaches, come and go. Rightfully or wrongfully, that's the nature of the beast, So, kutitonda achazoenda kupi kanoti achatsvaga kwekuenda ndo basa rake iro rekutsvaga kwekuenda kana akashaya kwemari kwachira kuenda kwaanoratidza nawo kuti what he is made of, because right now hapana kwaenda kwachonaka hakuna kumupa sort of a remit yekuti azikanwe kuti how good is he, because whenever you go to a club in Emari, people are always going to question whether it's the money or it's you who's making the team tick. So so now kana adzingwa ku team ine mari yachonaka but kwese akwanisa kuendesa into achiwa winnisa chi league, it's down to him now to prove himself, you know, how good he is. And akaenda I don't know whatever other teams they go to the lower my coaching vacancy, yeah? And if he doesn't do well, automatically arikubva angonzichi zvataitaura zviya zviya zvemari, you know. So coach, you know what, you've got to, as a coach, you just have to grin and bear on things and just accept these decisions are always going to come. And as much as I would feel sorry for any coach or Tonde would I end this at team over, the bottom line there would the world over executive and these are my players. I know Zinga coaching for the flimsiest of reasons to the biggest of reasons, and they don't have to justify anything. You go, that's it. You know, and they can tell them because style of play. When I say Marinica the style of play, you've got to improve your style of play. When I can say Marinica you're not going to take us to the promised land, which is pushing further into the cup, is unjust and as unjust it can look, as unfair it can look. But I think at a point, I don't think you are the one who's supposed to take us there or who can take us there based on what I've seen. It's unfortunate, but that's what as coaches we have to deal with. But we just think what we not vanopenga but provide. And I thought there had been an issue mentioned about Nyaye Pro license, the CAF. Is that not another reason? I don't know. You
That
guys
could be
would
another.
not.
Yeah, that could be another reason. Yeah, I've seen an article whereby it says CAF has said that no coach must coach in CAF competitions like the highest, which is Champions League and AFCON, without a pro license. So it's possible that,
Because now I'll tell you what it could have happened there, and maybe for all the blame it's not gonna kupa Scott, it could be justified because Kanasina pro license CAF, then he wasn't going to be allowed to coach Team Saga. There's no way I'm coach we CAF and a coach we league. I did.
Yeah.
So you have to get rid of the coach if that's the case. I'm only saying if that's the case. But this shows the turnaround now in AFCON, because I think I've mentioned this. Other to tell you, dear friend, Takakura Mukuru Kwandiri pa Takakura Tesofia and it. Other Tutani was Zimbabwean coach. He's the one who put them in the Premier League. Yeah. And he lost his job because of the license right they were into the Premier League. Ranga Sina Patonda Naro. And now it's sort of turned around with it. Now Timmy Agwenda with a Baga Ashenda Scotland. Timmy Agwenda CAF now. He with Zingo Basa because they are not the right qualifications with the Agwenda CAF. You know, so if it's true with the Hana Pro, then the sacking is justified. Then you can't blame the coach. But unless Kana Ana when it's other things, but at the end of the day, that's what many people do. You've got to accept it. And no matter I change, they go you know, like Ray said, it might be short-lived as well, because you're not going to be mouthy, and you're going to deliver. If you don't do those two things, you're going. Simple.
Yeah. So Malcolm Naabu, I would want your view on, do you think it's fair for Ngombe Aora to just buy franchise, yeah, hunters. After they've done all the hard work. And the funny thing that I've heard is when you buy a franchise to Zimbabwe, you're not buying the players too. You're just buying the name, which means all those players, they are just going to be dumped after they've done all the hard work of winning the Division One. What's your view on that? On that, although it's lawful, but is it fair?
Um, yes. So I'll just rewind back it and talk about KFC United. I'm a fan, so I'm sorry. I have to just add one or
Okay.
two things there.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think President Farai is doing a great job, with the team. Him bringing the coach from Gezi Plana on a run on Toro Danzi, run on Toro coach change we so
Okay.
yeah, that was the right call. Ian Bakala, I think time yakapiwa yakawandisa serege kuti I'm relegation, but that was a good, I think, one match before, my relegation, yes, on your sons, I had my team in relegation. So I'm very excited to see where United will how Cape United will perform next season. And just my
Okay.
5 seconds thought on Scotland. I feel like handizi yangu decision now ilinyatso kwamba say, but kubva pana coach Ndiraya Sacked pana Nomi Mapeza, tactically makocha muona maZimbabwe anombonyanya kusiyana stake apanyasorina club inotamba bhora rakasiyana nerevamwe vanhu zvokuti unoti uyu coach uyu bhora rake, say this season coach akatamba bhora rakasiyana nevamwe vanhu ndi Lloyd Mars. At most you could see the plan, you could see the tactics out, but other teams, I watched the game Islanders versus Scotland versus Dynamos. It was just kika bora, the last team wins, that kind of thing. So I if anything, the difference between Ndiraya and Peza is the personalities, Nomi Mapeza is a vocal coach on the laid back side, chilled, not too much. That's the only. When it comes to tactics, it's the military style type of, which Scotland is saying that Scotland, they are saying that they want to play like Mamelodi Sundowns. There's no way you're going to play like Sundowns, those old military, tactics. That will never work. If anything, you should someone who's a bit more nice when it comes to just the playing side. We all know Coach Lani, most of his stuff, but which philosophy do we know of Nomi Mapeza? Besides the military training. Honestly, I don't see.
No, that was his nickname.
Okay. Yeah, as a player, he was a good player. I'll give him that. He was a very good player.
His nickname from his playing days.
Oh, it's not coaching.
But anyways,
it was through coaching. Yeah, go ahead.
No. That's his nickname from his playing days.
Yeah. So yeah, I just think I don't know what Scotland is doing, what they are doing, but it would be really nice if they like an outside number say Mamelodi Sundowns again. Chitangeka kuita zvatinoona kuti muri kutora direction yacho, kunza makocha ane modern philosophy chichi. Nomi Mapeza, if I'm not mistaken, has played in AFC Platinum, and they didn't really go anywhere. So see, Zaganya Mira said, okay, we're going to see next season, right? Then now again, Beawara buying the Hunters FC franchise. I wouldn't say it's unfair or it's fair. It's football. Zviriko kubhora. Maplayers anofana kutongogara makaziva jesu nogonoenda anytime. Scotland paakauya last season handikasiya maplayers ayo ese iva ane manyowa. Maplayers ese aitamba yakaenda vangu yana rona vafumbidza aya I think vamwe vasiwa. So maplayers anoziva kuti zviriko. Zvinorwadza. Yes, I think zvinorwadza kana kunzi football kunzi onzi franchise apa matamba magame kuti one last season mozongopana kwamugenda unotamba team yakuenda une vamwe vanhu. That's it. So tough luck. That's what I would say. Tough luck to the Hunters FC players. But I'm actually glad that Ngombe brought that franchise. Why? Because I feel like it's high time now we have organized teams in the Premier League. We are sick and tired of hearing about team inopinda ground isina majezi, team inopinda ground majezi akasiyana, team iri kutadza inotamba game inoti haina mari, maplayers haana kudya, maplayers akarara mumaclassroom. It's really high time now we have an organized league. That's how we get sponsors. That's how we get quality. So if anything, I would say, I hate to be the devil's advocate, but that was a job well done from Ngombe.
Okay.
Can I jump in real quick before my school of thought runs away?
All right.
I have a problem. I have a problem with the way Zimbabwe football is run. Okay, I'll give you an example. ZPC Wange won promotion into the Premier League, right? Do you know what they were told? They were told you cannot play in there because you cannot have two teams sponsored by the same company in there because ZPC Kariba was already there, right? So they sold their franchise to Moss. Right? Because their parent company is the same. Now, a few years down the line, Ngombe Aora, who owns Ngombe Aora? Let me tell you, it's one pet size Scott Sakupanya. Let me tell you who it is. It's one pet size Scott Sakupanya. Who owns Scotland FC? It's one pet size Scott Sakupanya. Now, see, this is where the waters get murky. This is where everything gets murky and dirty. And this is where I say our football, and until such a time we get to a point where we say we have honest, morally and ethically upright people that administer the game, we are going nowhere slowly. You cannot allow Ngombe Aora to come into the Premier because Ngombe Aora is owned by Scots. Yeah.
Question, right? Yeah. Correct me if I'm wrong, but was it the PSL with that, or it was rather Zela themselves?
It was the PSL. It's actually a law that governs football teams in Zimbabwe. You can look it up. Mushi looked it up and he showed us. Even in the EPL, they also have that. In Zimbabwe, they also have that. You can, besides that, let's just say morally, let's just say Mtemocha Wupo. Morally, there you have Scotland FC, there you have Ngombe Aora. And then they come and then they play against each other. Let me tell you how you open up leeways. For corruption and other stuff. This is how it starts, because one of the teams will need points at some point. And they'll play against each other. What's going to happen then? Let's not suppose and say, I was just right. No. We know what's going to happen. Manager told Holmes, let that other one win. And no one's going to question that. We need to be moral and ethically upright people in Bora. Hard Rock. This is what remember when I was saying about, when I was giving examples about Zimbabwe saying them that Hard Rock yakapinda and it Hard Rock the guy says Anamari whatever he's saying so he needs to sell the franchise. Instead of buying the franchise, why don't you just sponsor Hard Rock? Hunters, sorry. Why don't you just
You mean
sponsor
Hunters? Yeah.
Hunters. Why don't you just sponsor Hunters? Why don't you just find it? Why can't Muridwe Hunters find people who sponsor his team? You can't tell me, Kuti, there are no business people in Marondera. If the council was so moved by their win in the promotion that they already starting doing renovations through Dhaka Stadium, you can't tell me, Kuti, Marondera amuna business people. That one will sponsor the transport, the other will sponsor chikafu, the other will sponsor accommodation. And they're all sponsoring Hunters. And then your Hunters, Murudaka Memuya, you know, my size, Mamma, put my billboards. This one not sponsored, this are sponsored, this you know how it is. If you're watching the game like in the Kupi, I don't know which can does that, like my billboards will be electronically, I think I flash or so all around the sponsors. You know, why can't you go that route? Why does it end? Why what is it? We know you are there. It's not like we don't know you're there. You are there. We are there. What more do you understand?
Can I catch you on that? Yeah. On that point, you know, I want to go on with what Ray is saying, and I want to give a practical example. Yeah. It's match day today. Ngombeaora versus Scotland. Yeah. Owned by the same owner. Goes to Faro Stadium. Yeah. One thing that you never remove from football, from 18 Chaguti to now, it's integrity in football. Yeah. Anyone who is attending a match, I should know on a match, has got to be at most 100% with the club that they want to win a football match. Yeah. As a fan and as an owner as well.
Yeah.
Scott Sakupanya gets to Faro Stadium. Let's just say with his Makochi, like Makochi, the team knows anyway. Say Zimbabwe. The Udano Bonopina, and I'm changing room, but the boys, Royman, winning bonus, Tagat. Yeah. Does Scott Sakupanya go into the dressing room? Yeah. One side of Ati Royman, winning bonus. Whatever. Yeah. Or changing room. Yes, Scotland over at that is the most unethical thing that you can ever come across.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you.
The most unethical. And that's the reason why FIFA, starting from FIFA, they say teams who are owned by the same owner can never be in the same league. You know what happened to Nottingham Forest? Nottingham Forest, they were supposed to be in Europa, they're in conference. Do you know why? Because their owner owns Olympiacos. So if they were in both in the Premier League, or if both of them were in the Greek league, in fact, it wouldn't happen. There wouldn't be. Now, because he can own clubs from different nations, but the difference is Nottingham Forest could not play against Olympiacos in the same conference, in the same Europa. Nottingham Forest were demoted into conference because Olympiacos finished at a higher position than Forest. That's what they do. Yeah. So Nottingham Forest could never ever meet Olympiacos unless Olympiacos was owned by someone else. So it goes now, Maji. It's even worse because it's a league. It's a league. It's somebody knockout competition. Yeah, league. We expect that this was Scottish RGD. In my team, I got which my relegation. In my team, I get promotion. If that was the case, that is it destroys the whole respect here border. So going on to the point, yes, Sunita, I would rather have a team, in Chinjana, my jersey, for credibility purposes. I would rather have a team in each Tambane Scotland, Paneguti Scotland, Itambe, it's the same, basically the same team. Because what do you do now? Scotland is flying high, and the other team is not. Scotland is trying to win the championship. It's window transfer season. Yeah. Scotland would they pay? Who pays for the player from Ngombe Aora to go to Scotland? Scott pays himself. Scott takes his money and pays himself to sell to himself.
I would like to say this, right? I feel like if they were serious with that rule, then even utangira uma D1 uma D2, if I not this team under 19, most under 19. Why? Because so like most under 19 do win league D1. What was going to happen? If Ngezi Platinum had won
the team next to them would go up because they can't.
That was but what was that the rule?
No, it's not a rule.
If you look at Platinum under 19, and if you look at Ngezi under 19, if you look at some of the players that we're talking about that are coming, like we didn't know this guy, but all of a sudden Aku Platinum and it, guess what? Under 19, it's a feeder club. They use it as a feeder club. So what they do is when they get into a point where they know they're going to get promotion, and they offer that slot to someone else. They don't go up there because they know that rule. So they keep their under 19 team in the D1 where these boys get experience to play, and then they're promoting them to go up there. Just like all these teams in the UK and everywhere, they've an under 19 team, they've a reserve side team that plays. They're just there to groom the players and to prepare them for the next level. They never say, even if it wins, it never goes up there because they know it's against the ethics of football. But you see, in Zimbabwe, Isuzu are known for doing. Yeah, Isuzu are known for doing. It's not for our
B-side. And Barcelona B-side. Barcelona B-side actually plays in the lower leagues. Real Madrid B-side, Tambra lower leagues to Spain. So it's an arrangement which has always been there with
It's an arrangement where they just this. That's why if their player is injured, and from the Premier League is injured, when he goes through rehab, when he's coming back, he goes to go and play there. That's why they're saying he's been playing the reserve side as he recovers. That's just to get him back into the motion, into the physicality, and then he comes back. They are just sides to keep grooming players. Never are they, if they have ever heard Kuti, they've gone up there. But Isuzu Zimbabwe is no Vrahombe. Isuzu is three stuntman. Because let me tell you, Zimbabwe three stuntman match. Is three man stunt no Vura, stuntman you one. He must stunt you and you have Vurwai. And I'm telling you, don't be surprised. Ngombe Aora Chatama Premier next year. Don't be surprised. It's not something new. And guess and like Mushi was saying, how then do you go and sit there as the sponsor or whoever and watch both teams Chamba? What something has to be. This is what I always tell. I tell people, I tell my friends, I tell the other guys that I know, Kuti Bora, even with a coach, you can have my paper, stake my paper, so my qualifications, and to UEFA Pro A, chai good grade, and can I usina a certain that, with that which is not taught, that which is within you. Kuita coach kuno kuremera. That's why mama coach ka ano huyaka is team after team anenga chingoenda chingorowa. It doesn't matter team ano to team players. I gotta say ano don't know, because at some point there's something in your mind that you see as a coach with Ababa, I've done everything that I train that I coach my players, but I'm going for the win. Now when ningi, I'm pulling out OJ. Abu. Why? It's what Abu offers. That you think what was going to uyo defender guys Abu, chamkunda physicality. Uyo player guys OJ, chamkunda pa pace. As a coach, you need that a certain that. You see, look at Sean Dice. Sean Dice. Ukarata, can you rate Sean Dice? I don't know what I Dice because I Dice. Avana mazita, mazita like ana Mourinho nandia.
Yeah,
which is fair enough. But Dice is a coach of Kuti Zunjaipa man, Ramana Tadak survive relegation. unopinza nashon dice vaya anotambira hamuziva kuti chii chikuitika but unozoona timu yarwa 3-0 atowina kashon dice atowina kashon dice kuti unyatsonzwira kuti ari kuitika vachitanga kutarisa manje kuti who's playing unoona anenge abvise regular or is another player. It's the things he's seeing as a coach from you need a certain that. You understand what I'm saying? So bora redu as it is, bora redu we have a problem. Bora redu starting from ndakambotaura namone saying it kubva kuzifa and my ethics edu and we don't follow protocol, policies, procedures. If ever we still have any policies and procedures that are meant to be followed, if we have statutes that we need to follow, because if FIFA says you cannot do that, if FIFA says you cannot do that, and UEFA says you cannot do that, who does ZIFA fall under? Doesn't ZIFA fall under ZIFA? Does ZIFA fall under FIFA? Yeah, so if they fall under FIFA, then they follow FIFA statutes, don't they? So if they fall under FIFA statutes, then how can FIFA say Forest and Olympiacos cannot play together in the same team because they're owned by one guy? And then at the same time, Zimbabwe Trukuti Amaya as Nabasa Boza then Mumbeaura and Scotland can be in the same league. It's we are taking my policy procedures to Barra to Rasau to the Anungati new one.
All right, so
it's unethical. It's unethical.
All right, so fair enough. Yes, I would like to talk about ethics, business ethics, right? My brother Kelvin talked about ethics. You also, Mr. Maupete, talked about ethics, right? Ethics is because I also feel like Israel my feeder clubs are ethically that's not right because my team are in division 2 I would open on division 1 in munzo kune ngezi under 19 yatanga utamba division 1 utanga 2012 or 2000 amepaka pakapinde momo vanongoramba vari monoti kangori katimu kakanenge kachingobalancisa kanongostable kungoita kuti kasabude kasawine then you have like let's say we have about 3 clubs dzinodaro pane team iri kuD1 nezvinezvi iri kuD2 inokwanisa kucomplaina nenyaya yechiti that's not ethically right. Then takuendawo kubusiness I guess for a lack of a better term business intelligence. I don't think Scotland and Scott Sakupwanya akamboya chisauro kuti ng'ombe yaora iteam yangu maybe akadaro okay maybe akadaro but like when it comes to like talks of a club ownership like especially nenyaya like debate kutaura kunzi ZIFA or PSL vakataura kuti havadi team havadi tuma team pa owner one, right? I'm sure vari kutoziva zvavachataura haisi team yedu iteam yemunhu akadai so chichiandeka and if anything tingatobblame ZIFA kwete ivavo because vanhu vakawanawo loophole zviri kwese kueurope mateams anowana maloophole. We can talk about the RB Leipzig, the team iri kubundesliga if handinozoti vairambidza vapiwa zita rekunzi hanzi because I think kutanga inzi Red Bull Leipzig, right?
That's why they use the name RB.
Varichinja zviri fani kuti inzi RB Leipzig but vaida kumensiona ka RB kaka so instead of Red Bull yakunzi Russian Ball Sports or something but vakawanawo loopholes. We can talk about Chelsea right now. Izvo zvemaplayer signing zvazvokuti zvinonzi musa sign I don't know like the FIFA inonzi transfer pay play chichi and Chelsea found a loophole. That's why I think my players are signing my 8-year contract chichi. So
on that, Malcolm, can I ask you something?
Yeah.
You are right in terms of Nyaema loopholes and stuff. I know Nima club owners in order to circumvent the rules. But I think the principle behind the rule is that they want to make sure that whatever ownership structure is there doesn't affect what happens on the field of play. So I think the danger that we have in this case is that if Mombeaura comes up and Scotland comes up, they're playing in the same league. They've got 30-something games, 30 38 games maybe with 20 teams next season. What will happen when Scotland is 3 points away from winning the league? They are playing Mombeyaora,
Mm.
and Mombeyaora probably is in mid table. Their next challenger is maybe 3 points behind. But if Scotland just win against Mombeyaora, then they win the league, then they are good. What do you think will happen in that case?
So I'll go back to business intelligence, like I said, right? It's unfair, yes, Ashiko, but to say my fans, to say my fans,
Mm,
but
mm,
Scott, I guess is just too ambitious, say, you know, um, and like I said, muno akawana lupo rake maona if anything zifa ndo inofana kugadzirisa nyaya iyoyo handika. So
yeah,
the way I look at it, I would say it's one of those things where I'll say, let's see when we get there, let's see when we get
yeah.
there. Let's see pazvichaitika zvinizvozvo.
Right?
Maybe tozomutsachi
Can I
yeah,
can I answer that? Can I
yeah,
answer that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah,
The fact that you say, let's see how it goes, shows the flaws in it already,
there
because
are flaws.
you don't
Yeah.
you don't do the let's see how it goes. Start from minute one of the first match day until the last minute of match
Yeah.
day 38, if it's going to be about 20 clubs there, and you can't base on ngationa kuti ava vachazoita vanenge vari patop here kana kuti vanenge vari pabottom, because ichataurwa about promotion. We can even talk about that on the other side with demotion. Scotland yawina league kudhara, yawina league kudhara. Mombeyaora are 3 points away from surviving relegation. Yeah, Scotland is beating everyone. Scotland yaenda kana an unbeaten team. Yeah. What are the chances of Scotland, losing that game to save Mombeyaora? There's no, you mentioned, I got interested when you mentioned where the business intelligence. There's no business intelligence there. It's corrupt. There is corruption, not business intelligence. There is nothing business intelligence about that, because if football was governed, if impartial, without any partisan, ideas coming into it, we wouldn't even be talking about this, because it should never happen. The fact that we're talking about it and there's a chance that it will happen shows that our football is gone to the dogs. The simple reason being that me and you, we cannot, there's a difference, and I will say something that you mentioned as well.
Yeah.
There's a difference between a loophole. Yeah? There's a difference between a loophole and taking the piss. Yeah. What's happening now is people who've got money taking the piss out of football because they can get away with it. There's no loophole. My loophole, Chelsea, that's a loophole. Yeah, that's a loophole.
Yeah.
So what the funny issue yagawinwa ne Man City recently against the FA. Mashandisa loophole for something. I did it. FA, they agreed with the final about yes, you know what, Maganzi, Man City were within their rights with this. If the only thing I'm not going to with them, they change rules going forward to avoid that happening. And that's what they did. Those are loopholes. This issue, I see loophole. Because Zimbabwe, and Zimbabwe with the politics and football always go hand in hand in Zimbabwe. I find it that about the fan is Zuniza, yeah? That's your surname, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. What's your name? What's your name?
Tsungai Malcolm Zuniza.
Okay, no, that's cool. Nambodoti, you are now speaking like a Zimbabwean politician. When you said, when you said, apana pakambotaurwa kunzi apana pakambobuda yachitaura kuti timu ndeyake. It's those things really so open and shut, you know, that has even a blind man in see. When people are trying now to maneuver around, you know, all of a sudden, when things were going well and there was no issue of promotion, he wanted to make it known with I bankroll this team. But somehow, Yaguda would think a franchise. No. We don't actually own this team. Yeah? That is political. Yeah. So you've got to understand we are not stupid or naive, but still that can go ahead simply because the power in a certain individuals, pura power in the governing body. If you see this happening, if you see Ngombe Yaora going in there, then that means power Rashanda more than what Zifa could do, because there should never ever be two teams owned by anyone. And you know what? I don't have a problem with Scotland. I don't have a problem with Ngombe Yaora. They did well. And I'll quickly mention something to mention about my team. My feed the team, League. It happens here. Even here in UK, it happens. But there's one thing that you know. Your team, if they win the league, it's either you're going to make a choice. Team is going to get relegated for that one to come in. Oh, that team is not going to come into that league. It's as simple as that. They will never ever allow that. It can never ever happen. That's my point.
Yeah, I want to say, Malcolm, on the issue of Taura, it's not fair for the other team in Division 2. There's utmost fairness because every league has got a certain number of teams that are relegated and a certain number of teams that are promoted.
Yeah.
The team in Division 2, in Division 1, should not rely on Platinum under 19, should not rely on Ngez under 19, should not rely on whatever under 19 kuti say vasiri kubuda. Let them play so well down there ku Division 1, 2, so that vakapedza vari number 1 spot they are coming up. It doesn't matter chichuda, but they are coming up because mu Division 1 mune 3 dzichadzikiswa dziri kuenda. You see, this is the beauty of relegation and promotion. If you play well, you get promoted. If you play badly, urkudzika. You understand? There's promotion and then there's relegation. What this does, it makes the game competitive. It's meant to make the game competitive. I'll give you an example where promotion and demotion doesn't happen. In Australia, havana promotion or demotion. And it
USA as well.
A-League, A-League, Australian League. A-League, means almost start with fancy names. A-League, Brisbane Roar, Sydney FC, Western Sydney Wanderers. Do you know who they signed? Can I tell you who's playing for Western Sydney Wanderers right now? Yuan Mata, Artamba ku Sydney. Yuan Mata is playing for Sydney.
Oh, yeah.
Honda, do you remember Honda? Honda akawaya kuno. So what it does, Daniel Sturridge akawaya kind of Perth Glory. Was Mari, so and then he only played maybe 5-10 games. So what happens, Manjiska? You don't get quality because what's the point? So why should I improve? I don't get promoted, I don't get demoted. So there's no it. So ukaona national team yeso like chitamba soga ndokutaura tikaipa Scotland FC is machope anogoisa kana 4 machope because these guys I'm telling you, they're like tits on a bull. They are useless because they get a promotion and demotion. Okay. Okay. So Division 2. Division 2 has to do well. They get promoted. Vanotaza they get demoted. Avasiana now under 19 games platinum. If they do things to balance with our Ababude Ndikoko, Division 2 they must do well. Loopholes, and utmost unethical moves are two different things. But let's move on.
Yes.
Let me pick on nyaya zvinhu. Isusu, we had 23 initial men's squad. Handitika. Ndiponyasona kuti something is off with us. We had 23 men's squad.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, South Africa yabuditsa 55. Handitika. What happens next? Isusu takuenda futhi ku 55.
Yeah.
55 players just because South Africa. Why Boost did it? Who knows why he did it? Do we even know why he called 55 players?
Yeah.
We don't know, but this is, we don't have time. We don't have the luxury. We can't afford the luxury of having so many players, national team, and with less than a month or two to go before we go to a major tournament. This is where the finalized lot must be. This is where his final team must be. This is where the preps must be intense now. But no, he's so having 55 man national team. Remember Chelsea 40 training. This guy popota. How do I train? No.
Yeah.
This is what I'm saying, Kuti. We need to stop being copycats and do things really proper. I honestly, even if we to ask the coach, Kuti, Super Mario, did you call these 55 guys? I don't know. But I don't think any coach knowing Kuti time and is limited would call 55 players. For what? Decision has already been made. That's our repo. Work with that.
So what happened on this one is CAF
South Africa like the 55.
I don't think that's the case. CAF mtemo kuti by 21 November you should submit a list of 55 players. So from those 55 players that you announce, you then cut them to 23 by 11 December. So I think it's the norm that they call 55 players. I do understand why you're saying why tighter 55, but I think where they're coming from is our league has ended already, and so because it has ended already, calling many local players is going to help the locally based players to keep in action until the 11th. Yes, to keep fit until the 11th, and then give a chance to those fringe players to also impress the coach according to what he's saying. And it seems the coach specifically requested the local coaches to make a selection of the best players they think can join up to that squad. So I think that's what happened. I don't know what you... Yeah, go on, Abu.
Okay, for what I heard when I was listening to the interview, the coach was saying about like vacha vamwe vanhu varisiri vanenge vati like maforeign best vachaita vekutarisa like current performance yavo ende kunzwa nezvavo handifungi kuti vachauya kutraining. But pamalocal ndikanzwa kuti vane makocha vakataura now. There's some coaches they are going, I think they are going to give maybe like 15 per coaches. Then maybe they'll play against, I don't know, they'll play against and choose which one they want, because they need like fast, the people who play fast, they still have got the energy. So I don't know for the 55 people, vachakwanisa here kuwana vanhu vavari kuda. But in the idea ndandichifarira because it was going to help. There's some people like Murwira. To be honest, that guy, I don't want to lie. If you watch the match against Qatar, if you see side like Ndiraya Beans, always we're crying on that side. So, but I'm always shocked when I see when it's the final squad, you find Murwira Arimo, and that what sometimes shocked me. So I don't know on this time if coach will ask quit because of them. Because of Zifar Kuda ABCD, we hope we will see some of the players who's better. Because like if you check about like Andrew Beba, he's better than Murwira. Far away. But our morning squad, then you find out Memuna Murwira. So yeah, I think for me, I love the idea. Yeah.
Okay.
Malcolm. All right. Yeah. So.
Mkoma Kelvin, Makamuta. Murguta or about Makamuta. Mkoma Kelvin.
Yeah. I'll let Miss.
Yeah, go on, Malcolm.
Okay, yes.
No, I'd
So
muted because there was
Say
a
that.
background
No, no, no.
noise.
I was saying. Yeah, sorry. I was saying. If I'm not mistaken, I think Dragan's the players. Why FIFA yagala right? They up to those numbers. They were saying only players who have been in those squads are the ones who will be allowed to
Yes.
be in the final. I
Yes.
think 27,
Yes.
27 before
Yeah.
you because you can take I think 4 on standby.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
right.
So in Ango personally, yes, I know it's a FIFA thing, but I think 50 plus Yaga one this about it's still okay. But ideally, I think I would have preferred maybe in the numbers of 30, rather than 50. But in those people, I'm sure they know they would have figured out a way with Actually, it brings me to something I don't know. Kana mama Taura was in I was traveling and all that.
Okay.
And I'll give you an issue, Khama, on the squad, or not being in the squad.
Yeah, we have not started near squad was Stanchineta and near Scotland.
yeah.
Oh, okay. I could just tell you now because I've mentioned it already.
Yeah.
Khama, there's two things here that can be. One of them can be true. You see that if I just like I got a child out without I don't know the I'm not gonna go pamburwa or not. I think I got a chat. If it's the coach who said I don't need him anymore, the coach did the right thing by not even because ideally for 55 you expect Khama to be there. Yeah? You expect Khama to be there. But now coach gonna that shows now a coach and a respect a big player. Because Khama is a big player.
Okay, it seems we've
I
lost
think we lost
Calvin.
this, yeah.
Go on, Malcolm.
All right. So I was saying, the issue of Ngombe and Hunters is quite an interesting topic. So, I mean, we don't want to talk about anyone because we can go all day. Maybe let's take it to the WhatsApp. Yeah, let's take it to the WhatsApp
Let's
group,
go to the
right?
squad.
Yeah, that one we can talk about in the WhatsApp group because I still have a lot of things right to say. Okay, now yes, let me talk about the 55. Is it 55? 51?
55. Yeah, the initial squad is 55.
55.
Okay, yes. So firstly I'll talk about Zimbabwean being copycats. Sometimes it's not copying, it's inspiration. Sometimes it's you look at South Africa. This is a team that qualified for the 2026. You look at South Africa. This is a team that qualified for the 2026 World Cup. What did they do right? What got them to the World Cup? We need to know as Zimbabweans because we played that war group, no wins, not even a single win in 12 games, right? So sometimes we have to look at Bafana and look at what they're doing. Because like Rema, especially Rema, my squads are my provisional, my play mineral, that word. Vakatanga udhara every time ugobvisa tanga ataura squad yenu vanhu vana 43 then tozonzonzane vanhu chichika but tisina maigonisa ingonza vanhu vari kuenda so I feel like hazvina kushata kuva no-inspiration kubafana hazvina kushata kuona zvava kuitawo tombotedzera tomboona zvinosvitsa senyika isikuwina so I don't like. I wouldn't say takatadza paipe answer. Issue of Khama Billiat. Let's be honest. I think problem yatina semaZimbabweans ndekufara the word experience. Toda ma players ane experience. Anaenda tournament. but vari kukwadzisa maplayers aya, you know, ana Khama Billiat vatamba maAFCON mangani, you know, Marvelous Nakamba atamba maAFCON mangani, Teenager Deb,
Mina
you know.
Facebook. Wambona ni Facebook wanotuka sei.
No,
Amirani mwakata mchana. Amirani mwakata mozo continue. Okay.
Yeah.
Inzwaika akoma. Inzwaika akoma. I agree with you kuti pane patiri kuvadziswa. But if you remember when Mike Onisi came, if you're watching some of the games, you were seeing with particular experience somebody anokwanisa kuencourage vafana, because you know vafana vachiretika vaisa vane power. We need somebody who can vanopodza game kuti aiwa vafana vangu iko zvinota kudai. Even unoona kungoonekwa kwaKnowledge Musona musquad vafana vanodzikama hana dzanga dzichitotya. But at least tinana blast and stuff. But parikuzonoita problem, you know where's the problem is the coaches. Kana Musona atamba kuti anodzisa anosimbisa vafana haafani kutamba 90 minutes because of the age, you understand. So at least ngaatambe pozoneswa mwapana game rapora, because vanhu vaiva tinozongovadira kuti panodzikama vanokwanisa kuudza vafana nyaya dzinobatika dzekuti vafana ava vanoita calm down, because vafana kuenda vese vana Bio Antonio vanana havasati vakamboenda kuAFCON. Handiti ndo panozoshona nditi kwai kuziva vano muzivi wenzira ndiye mufambi wayo. At least those guys vakambofamba une nzira iyoyo, they will tell vafanawo zviri nani zvinogona kunzwisika. But ikavarasa like zvokunzi aiwa havasina basa vapera, I don't agree with that.
But can I ask you something?
Can I say something? Sorry, Malcolm. Can I say something?
Yeah.
Abu, nyabo ndikuinzwa experience in that, but big but in capital letters. Yeah. Bill Antonio plays ku Belgium anditika. Mfano aya team yanotambira wambona fan base yavo vakawanda sei. Mafans team ndamiro nemfano yambona vakawanda sei. Hapana chamuchikisa mfano wayo, hapana chachachika mfano wayo plays before huge numbers. You understand? Chirewa is the same. All these guys the same. Saka, we need to stop. Like Malcolm said, we need to stop. Nyedangote experience. Let me tell you, problem. Zimbabwean. It's besides the love of the name experience. We get emotionally attached to players. We get emotionally attached to players. Why I don't want these guys kuti vaende. You see, Khama has a legacy that is created, is built, and from his playing days, from his days, Cesar Junior, he went to Cape Town Spurs, you know, made big money moves. Khama rose, Khama rose, he played ku Sundowns. They won things. Sundowns anadoli kigen. Nechimwe first church vakatoita nickname avo, whatever. You akaenda ku Chiefs akaenda that. So if Khama is going to start, has to come to a point where he says it's enough, Anditika. I want Khama to go, Anditika, with his record intact, without any blemish. Why? I'll tell you problem, Zimbabwean fans. Zimbabwean fans are like nyoka or any muka. Unoirera mangwana inokuruma. I want you to hear me. Unoirera nhasi mangwana inokuruma. Zimbabwean fans vanokufarira for all this because ukuspaka. The day we lose as a nation and they feel it's your fault, I'm telling you, Khama, they'll haunt him and all that are sacrificed and this is what it has come to. This is not, I'm not talking about fiction. Zimbabwean fans do that. So let Khama go with his record intact. Let Knowledge go with his record intact. Because mangwana we don't want these guys to come and say takajiwa but vanga varimo vakadi kuzoita sei. Mafanzi yanu vatokanganwa age wakomana vanhu vatokanganwa kuti these guys are no longer my spring chicken anymore. You see, but because tangoti hey ngavaendere experience, ngavaendere this and that. And then we said kuti Abu said Danzi we need them kuti avadzikamise. Abu bora hakuna player anzanze uyachazodzikamisa. You do it yourself, otherwise usatambe. Bora, you need to grow up. You grow from a boy to a man just like that. because when I'm fana Arsenal, he's only 17. Fana chimbana chichini left ichi. Chutaka chuto ngopinzo ma few minutes. Chiromboradza masainze kutyereka ndinanzi mwana wakuru. No, he knows good why I'm there. He knows it's mbana Lamine Yamal akangopinzwa. He knows why he's there. Vesa fana they know. Anotoudzwa asati apinda chambo unotamba first team nasi wewe. Obva ngoto okay. Atoziva why he's being told. Otoudzwa nzi either make it or shift out. If you can't shift out, actors is your mindset. It's all in the mindset. It's not doing any experience. Malcolm, we need to copy South Africa. Kuti tite zvinoagonesa ndika. I will tell you something right now. Atsatatanga that's 155 akuskuatedzera. Let me tell you. Pane team in the Stars of Africa. It's an academy. Andika in South Africa. It's run by this guy. He's South African Indian, South African Indian. I don't know how you call them. Andika. You know what he does?
Yeah.
He's sponsored by Engine. He's sponsored by what many sponsors. Nepuma Food sponsors them. Vanema facilities. They have a school. Vanema boarding facilities. Andika. You understand?
Yeah.
They invite academies, SA, Sundowns, Kaiser Chiefs, Orlando Pirates, what. And then Nema coaches. And then one of them are coaches. Who am I looking at? And it's also so. Even when coaching staff they pick players. Uyo. They stay academy papo. They go to school. Emphasis number one emphasis is education. And then number two is Bora. Vafana stay there until the School of Excellence. Was it Sasso? Some School of Excellence. Kwakabana and Stephen Pina. But it's not defunct. Now Vane known Stars of Africa. Vakomana the way Sundowns plays. If you look at South African teams, almost all of them play the kind of thing. Yechi ine play so. If you watch Stars of Africa play, you understand where it's coming from. So these boys, they're groomed. Shamari, vane kampana kavakatora manje because I follow them. Vane kampana kavakatora manje. So his colored is Indian. So Shamari Jakaita Bora at that age. So and you could hear the coach at Kada is that come here. What did you do? The Kada is going, no. We don't just dilly the ball for the fun of it because there's a crowd. We need to keep the ball moving. Where are we going? Going into space. He's being taught. The kid is only 8 or 9 years old. Afterwards, mindset yako should be pass the ball, move. After 8, 9 years old, he's being taught movement. Ball at 9 years old. What about when he's 12? Go around 15. And they are taught from an age. So if we're going to copy South Africa, like Malcolm said, let's copy everything then. Let's start the junior policy. We don't have junior policy. Anakama wakavakubina knowledge. Where do they come from? Wakaba aces kaugumana.
Yeah.
Nana in the late George Goa. They all came from aces. Nana Onisimo, Nana Basera. Vakaba, you can tell so you can tell Wakumana. They play differently. Vakabaku Aces Academy. They came from an academy. We're talking about July. I understand he's an Aces Academy product. You can tell what he plays differently. Some of my players are now they're self-taught. It's a ghetto thing. It's a street thing. It's a street smart. So if we're going to copy everything South Africa does, let's start from the grassroots. We need to go back. Let's reset. Factory settings. Your bells are tanks up wood. And we need to do that in Zimbabwe football. Let's go back where we have under 9, under 12, under 15, under 17, under 18 reserves straight up to big team. I'm telling you, you'll see the difference of the people we produce. And at the same time, there's need for heavy investment. I need to say this. There's need for serious investment in football in Zimbabwe. Serious investment in football. We talked about why we have players that are small. Kevin Nakad also has to do with the economy. Meaning kuti players don't eat as well as they used to. If we have, investment in football, where we can have academies, where emphasis on players is education, nebora, and then nutrition-wise, if you look at nutrition-wise, also taking care of. If you look at my English leagues, these teams, training pipe. When they say the guys are coming for training, the first thing they do is for their own PR. Vanonochinja wakamboona vanoenda kubi soon after that vanoenda kudining hall because what they're eating zvinhu zvakatovhenekwa zvikatosetwa nemanutritionist kuti they need to eat this for their growth. Munhu akawake up for muscle growth and all that andika ndo zvavanodya vomborelaxa vonotraina vodya vorelaxa votraina. You're building a player's physical physical, nutritional ways, but they do, because we don't have such structures, they come from different backgrounds. You understand? Are two different things. Sadza tinorida, but sadza is not the thing for footballer. For an athlete, sadza is not the thing. Most athletes vanodya pasta. And I researched that why do athletes eat pasta? Pasta is light and pasta is quickly digestive system. So these players, most of my players, most of them eat pasta. KDB in KDB's house, I make a pasta. Most of them vanodya pasta. So we need to invest heavily in football. We need to have academies from the age of 6. We need to be able to find this ball control and doing all that. So by the time he gets to 12 years, ball control, it can become second nature kwa Ari. It becomes second nature kwa Ari. These are my tactics. Ball control becomes second nature kwa Ari. But we can't copy South Africa kakuti kumsoro kwa wadaidza 55 wadaidza 55. No. But panakaradza ma pictures are chonza ni mukwena chokumba toletsa mapoints chonza chogona chimidfielder chavo ichi chekusundowns chonza ni mukwena vakaradza picha mukwena achitamba some tournament. So when he was only 13 or 14 akatopuwa man of the match, because this is the same mukwena turi kutoona izvinezvi. You can tell kuti his rise was not from 0 to 100. Atakwira, so through the stages he was developed through the stages. Now there he is. So if we're going to copy that, Malcolm, my point is, if we're going to copy South Africa, then let's copy everything from the ground level up. We can't just take from the top because paid up. Guys, what I say, ceiling the tiles. Can I invest in a foundation? My tiles will come to 0. So let's build a strong foundation and then start going up.
Okay. Whoever is coming in, I want you to cover this also. Sorry, Abu, we can't hear you. If you're coming in, I just want you to cover this also. We've seen that Khama has been taken out of the squad, and some people were asking on Facebook, they must call Khama in. I'm sorry to all Khama fans, it's no longer possible. If you're not on the 55-man squad, you can't be called, even as an injury replacement, you can't be called. It's either you're on the 55-man squad or you're not. So, Van Waripa 55-man squad are the ones who are going to be in the 28-man squad, the last one. Then 23 men are the ones who are going to be covered by my expenses in NECAF in terms of being registered. You can have 5 extra players who go, but the 5 extra players as FIFA, and only 23 men can be named in a matchday squad. What I wanted you to cover is we've seen that Macaulay Bonne, the number 9, has been called in. He's now playing in non-league. I think it's some team in non-league. And then we've also seen Mudimu come back. He's now playing in the Welsh League, which is not so well known as well. What do you think about us calling Bonne and Mudimu back in? Would they bring any improvement into the squad, or you guys think their leagues are not good enough?
I can go. I can take the question if you guys allow me.
Okay. Yeah.
All right. I'll say to me that is Sandy Chidzambwa once referred as, that is clownish behavior, to be honest. I say this why. We played with Alec Mudimu. We played with Macaulay Bonne. Varimu Prime Yavo, right? And they did not deliver anything. Palangwarim Prime, right? Now, I think at that time, Macaulay Bonne Tamba Division 1 or Division 2, but he came a couple times, right?
Macaulay is the last number 9 for Zimbabwe to score, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, it's fine.
Yeah.
It's fine. But like my point, so like Agawuya Adunana Division 1, Division 2 or something, right? But okay, he scored, but he didn't really like give us a satisfactory you didn't really give us satisfactory performances, right? Now Agtamam Division 8, make it make sense, Alec Ndimu, same thing. Takaenda naye I think Egypt, right? And vaibvisa vanhu ivavo. I remember game when takarohwa neTunisia, so I think 4-2. So it depends, boy, you know. Now akutamba maleague atori pazasi pane raitamba. Muda mudaidza futi. You know, make it make sense, Ziva. So Kwandiri, I would say honestly that is really unfair to football. I'm not sure if they're going to make it into the 28 men squad.
Yeah, 28 men squad.
Yeah, I'm not sure if they're going to make it to the 28 men squad. If they do, I honestly feel like that's really unfair to players like, obviously apana pachenda nafayana Ferem too. Maybe one hour achaenda kana vesa achasara. That's really unfair kune players akadaro kuti vakatamba muleague remunomu and compete as a top goal scorer.
Have you ever watched the National League and compared it to the PSL?
You know, maybe comparing maybe, but like, you know, you look at, you know, I'll give you an example. Right now we have shown Fusira Utamba Division 2, right?
Is in the championship, Division 1.
Oh, Division 1. We have shown Fusira Utamba Division 1. Then we have Emmanuel Jalaya Utamba Zimbabwean Premier League. Team, yeah, fight a relegation. But let's be honest, who's the better right back between the two of them? Imiman Story one wow between Sean Fusira and Jalai Notoran. You know.
Right. Can I come in?
Yeah.
On that. I'll answer you. You should come in as well.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Let's start on Bonnie. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think Bonnie right now can come and play in PSL? Zimbabwe PSL.
Yes.
Can Bonnie play in PSL?
I think so, yes.
He will be a top goal scorer.
I doubt that.
So let me finish. I'll tell you what's happening here, my young man Zunizo. We're going to be, you know, we're going to clash here and there. We're going to agree on things as well. Yeah. You've already shown that you're talking with emotions regarding this. You have emotion because you've made a judgment. You've made a judgment already.
I disagree.
No. You've made a judgment. So there is nothing that you're going to look at from a non-partisan way, because you can't believe that someone like Bonnie could be brought back after he's gone leagues down. But he's gone leagues down. Yeah, we're looking at leagues down. Yeah, okay, that's fine. I'm not saying he's going to do well. I'm not saying he's going to be in the 23. He's been called in, Bonnie, where he plays right now. Yeah, right now where he plays, most Zimbabwean Premier Soccer League players won't play in that league. Won't play in that league, and I can vouch for this, because this is where the argument comes in, where I, you know, as much as I don't like to bring myself in, I will bring, because I've made the examples, I've made, you know, the comparisons. Yeah, Zimbabwe football. If you look at, you know, the new coach, he was very diplomatic, and I mentioned this as well. He was very diplomatic with what he was saying, because basically what he meant is Zimbabwean football is in the doldrums, is dead, and he's having to work with whatever is there to try to make it work. Talent-wise, you never question Zimbabwean players, talent-wise. Never, ever question. But talent without being able to play in a system are two different things. Yeah? Far too many players, like you mentioned, Jalai. And I've said this, you know, before on previous, that Jalai is one of the few exceptions from Zimbabwean football who you put there and you think he probably plays in our professional football. The rest, when you see them playing, when you see the way that you know, our Zimbabwean Premier Soccer League plays, it's I don't know, I don't want to sound too harsh, but the levels are so low. The players do not really understand in the system. And you made a point that I agree with as well. You said Zimbabwean teams don't really look different. You were very right. Because whether it's Platinum, whether it's Moors, whether it's Scotland, somehow, you know, it brings, you know what, if you remember Ole Gunnar Solskjaer in Manchester United, the team was flying. But you know why the team was flying? Because individuals made things happen and they were winning. Yeah. But when it came to a point where individuals were not making things happen and you wanted, you know, a system that is allowing every player, you know, to thrive in there, they were found wanting. And that's a problem with Zimbabwean football. So many times when you compare players, we're talking about players who are in the, you know, Europe and players who are in Zimbabwe. We all have this thing about, we look at Zimbabwe Premier League and we say that's the #1 league. So someone who is playing in conference has got to be there because Zimbabwe Premier League is #1. But when you come down to it, Zimbabwean players, you know, the player who plays in the conference would come into Premier League and walk it. You come in there and walk it because the levels are different. The levels when you're talking about system are different. You know the coaches, and I agree with you again on another point that you made, that the coaches don't seem to do anything different. Yeah, I played in Zimbabwe in the 90s, late 90s, and early until 2002 when I left Zimbabwe. Yeah, when I was in school, I played for reserves for Black Aces. I was coached. Maybe you don't even know. I don't know whatever age you are. I was coached by Peter Nyama. I was coached by Stephen Kwashi. You know, he ended up, you know, in South Africa. He passed away. Yeah. All those managers, you know, the Steve Kwashis and all, and the Malumes, you know, the Mkweshas and whatever that you hear. There was one thing that they had in common. That is, they were good managers, but they were not coaches. Up to the point I left Zimbabwe, I was not coached football until I went to UK and I was playing in the Conference North and I realized that I knew nothing about football. I keep repeating this because I want you to learn from this. Yeah. I started learning so much not from a talent, because I was better than them. The boys that I was playing with, I was better than them when it comes to individual talent. But I was a rookie. Even though I was 26, I was a rookie when it came to playing in a system. Zimbabwean players are not very good at playing in a system. Yeah, but because it's the top level football in Zimbabwe, anyone else who's coming from any league, we think they're inferior if they're not playing in higher leagues. And yet you look at our league, it is absolute rubbish. So our league, if you took our league and put it into Europe, it could be the same as probably the last tier, or even the third or second, third, from the last tier of football. And I'm serious about this because I don't like sort of taking the mick out of my country. But I've got to be honest. I've got to be honest because I saw this and I realized that as much as I thought at 26 I was experienced, I actually looked like I was one of those kids who are coming in like in 18, 19 because I started seeing things. I started understanding what coaching is. Did you hear what this coach said? He said, I cannot force coaches to play how I want them to play because he knows that these coaches, they are not they're not doing the things that needs a level to be competing with the Nigerians, with the Cameroonians. Just because you draw against Nigeria doesn't mean you are at par with them. Doesn't mean that you're at level with them. Because Nigeria, if we play 10 games with Nigeria, we're going to lose 9 games or 8 games. Guaranteed. So one-off game is like saying Plymouth beats Liverpool 1-0, FA Cup, and then we say Plymouth is as good as Liverpool. Football doesn't work like that. We have too much we have too much emphasis on looking at players where they've come from and say if they're coming from any other country, they've got to be playing at this level. You hear Zimbabweans saying, "Oh, he plays in a Swedish league, so he can't play for the national team." And we have players coming from Wales playing for the national team. So we've got to understand that. And I said this, about because the Bonnie that you mentioned, even if he's not at his peak, the level that he's still playing here is good enough for him to be mixing with
I agree
Premier
with
Soccer
you.
League players who are in the national team.
I agree with you.
So,
all right. Yeah.
the other one, Mudimu, yeah,
Alec Ndimu, yeah.
the level that he's playing there, he deserves to be part of that national team because of the so many. You've got 12 players from Scotland.
Yeah.
So Mudimu can be there with the league that he plays for. Yeah. So I'm not saying that they should be given a shirt and say. I'm not saying they should be given a shirt and say you've come from Europe, so there's the shirt. But I'm saying they deserve to be there because there's so many players in that 55 who have got no understanding of playing in a system. But they're there. They're trying to play AFCON against the Nigerians, the Algerians, so not Nigeria, the Algerians,
Algeria,
the Tunisians and all that.
Yeah,
I hope it makes sense to you, my bro.
yes, it
Go on,
does a lot.
Abu, I would want you to come
Oh,
in
yes.
because
All right.
yeah.
Mukoma Kevin, vabva vaita kuwacha point yangu yese, because I was want to ask you, like Mukoma Zonidza kuti Bono wamuri kutaura akatamba kangani kunational team and magame akatamba how many goals, then we go kuna anonzi anu mfana uyu number 9 wekukuta musuno anonzi anu Prince Dube.
Prince Dube, okay.
Prince Dube, yeah. Then we go kune uyu South Africa uyu Mapfumo wati. So if you check magames akatamba Boni magame akatamba Boni nemagoals kana maybe 1 or 2 akamwisa nemagame akatamba, it's understandable because Boni is a goal poacher. Ndinomfollowa zvekudaro maplayers ekuzimu, ndinomafollowa maclubs avo ese, ndiri kumafacebook, ndiri kumayoutube, zvese ndichitevera even magame avo. Ndotarisa type of play because sometimes kusamwisa kwake kuclub inogona yakadhakwa, but we check the effort yaanoisa even mugame kuti munhu uyu chii chiri kunyatso kutora nzvimbo. Then we compare neleague redu rekuzimbabwe. Hatingamboti vafana vamwe vari kuenda vari kuzimbabwe vaya havangamboenderani nemazviro anenge achiita games vana Boni vaya. Navaya uya ari kumwisa ari pamusoro yes, but we cannot put Navaya tokombera Navaya and Boni. Azvimeke sense.
All right. So I'll say this, right? My points are mataura dadzidza, a brilliant point.
Disagree, Malcolm.
Yes, I was going to. I was about to.
Yeah,
I was about to. Yes, brilliant point. Brilliant points. I took 1 or 2 things. Like you said, munogona professional football in Zimbabwe. Went out Division 5 reku England. Ono rapana bora ramaitamba. Angangoro bora remstreet ramaitamba Zimbabwe. Zviriko. My thing is why ndichidaro kuti ngatiende inana Navaya or Billy Veremo. It's more of let's try something different. Taenda kuma AFCON every time tinodzoka AFCON tine 1 point or 0 points. Tinodzoka AFCON tisina win. Nema foreign based players amukutaura. Takana naye Alec Ndimu ku AFCON, takana naye Boni ku AFCON. Vakawanda ana
anaenda AFCON last time.
Bona asikamboenda
anaenda igame record ndoko.
Bona akangotamba 4 magame 3 or 4 muZimbabwe.
Played I think about 3 or 4 games and he has scored about 2 or 3 goals.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, so maybe we can try. But okay, going the any point wrong, right? So the thing is, I feel like sometimes we overrate my foreign based players. Let's give our local my players at my local because like yes, tuguramba tingotaura zvoti foreign based ndovanoziya bhora ndovakutisa bhora chichika, but havasi kutipa ma-results atiri kuda. Everybody's talking about
vakaguma rinikuina Kosafa.
Kosafa, no, like Kosafa is a word. Kosafa, debatable because like Kosafa sometimes abatomboende like our best players. Kosafa the episode tambeka na under 21. No, the last Kosafa tambeka na under 21. And we're gonna under 21.
If the previous ones, our best local players, and they were under 21s but they were also the best local players. there. I think the under 21
Yeah.
players were 4 or 5, and the best local players.
Okay, still, but like
Can
you
I
know,
ask? Can I ask you a question? Can I ask you a question, Zuniza?
yeah.
If you say let's try my local-based players, yeah, did it? Why do you say let's try my local base? Because from when I've seen Zimbabwe play, Zimbabwe is played in a mixture of local players and foreign-based players. So why do you have an issue with that? Why do you always have an issue with the European-based and rather than the local-based?
So I do not have an issue with them, but I have an issue. Name my players and do not with the players that I feel like are not playing at the top level. I like Mudimo, for example. Bonnie, for example.
Okay. Unandipindura ako, sorry, ndinoti ndikubate kuti unyatsopindura, did it? What players like Alec Mdima did it? But you don't have a problem with local players who've been in that national team and we've done nothing. You haven't mentioned them, but you mentioned Mudimo, who's not in the national team. So that shows already that you are biased towards the local players.
Not really, yeah.
Because you are not mentioning when you're choosing players that need to be replaced, the players that have not achieved anything. You are not talking about local players. In the players you're talking about are European based, and then you are saying, "Oh, let's try the locals because the European based haven't done well." Have the local based who are in that squad, have they done well?
Mukona zvakafanana network inenge yavatiza. Network yavatiza. Zvakafanana neMamelodi Sundowns yavanga vachitaura vachiti zvoni hanzi bhora rinofanana. Pane mechi yakaenda notambwa neMamelodi Sundowns netimu yaBrandon Galloway iyai. Makaona bhora makaona kuti Mamelodi Sundowns yakaluza kutimu iri pa I think inenge division 2 yana Galloway kuenda
League 1 championship and they were bottom of, and now they are in
bottom
League
of championship
1, which is division 2.
Anditi muri kuona. So inini hangu it's not like ndinoshora ma local player, but ndinozodzoka papepa kuti experience matters sometimes. Yes, we can put vamwe vafana variko vanenge vachitaura because unozati sezvachitaura mukoma wakevi kuti ukabva kuZimbabwe uchinzi uri kutambira muPremier ukaenda uku kanotanga kunodzidza like Marshall Munetsi ngatirege kuenda kure. Marshall Munetsi I remember when he was explaining like kuti pakabva kwese kunoku achienda kwaimboveko asati aenda kuWolves. You remember kuti that guy aive defensive midfield. Animon anga asinganzwise kuti you can even move nebhora iwewe uri defensive midfielder kuenda kutonomwisa. And now Marshall Munetsi change because aenda kune league rino understand better than kwaakabva. So now todzoka papa maforeign best vanhu vatiri kunotamba navo uko kunze uko vafana vacho Nigeria or let's say Nigeria inenge yakaloda most vafana vacho 99 munoti hakuna league ravo rinenge ritori nani rekunyimusha kwavo than rekwedu, to be honest. Vanhu vaiva because they've got everything. League ravo ri nani than rekwedu. So but you see kuti ivo vanenge vakaisa ma foreign best not kuti vanopenga because they understand the level yebhora. Understanding yebhora inenge riko haisi Syria yana murwire yekuti rinofana kubva kugedhi ukoko rakarohwa baba rakanowira ukoko because at the end bhora rikufana kutambwa tiwane way yekuenda kunomwisa. Saka manje tikangotora vafana vavanenge vachiona vachirova bhora rekuZimbabwe rekuti bhora ngariende mberi. And boss kuZimbabwe watutaura ground vakanoenda mutefi wakomana vanotsvedza mwembe muNational Sport Reality anzi chimusuku Rufaro hamuchabati mwemwe mango muground rafanana nerekutambira paroad. So inini pamwe maplayers avari kuzama kuti kushora ka inini by their experience vesana League Mdima ava inini kwandiri ndoona nge vantori nemusoro than mama players.
Abu, with what you've said just now, you've reminded me of something. I think in the past 2 videos we were talking about Jonah Fabish, and we mentioned the qualities that Jonah Fabish has on the ball and off the ball, and it. But
ndakaona
clip here. So after Peter a minute, explaining kuti my qualities are Jonah Fabish and the eye. Anodai. Then someone just comes and say, Jonah Fabish, he's slow. So I then asked one of them, Kuti, what do you mean slow? What do you mean slow? Is he slow in transition? Is he slow in terms of going back to cover space? What do you mean he's slow in? Because I think what you're just saying, pawanenge vachiti slow ka vajaira Burwira anoti akabata bhora, it's do bhora do kumberi and it. But no, you don't just get the ball and do bhora kumberi. You get the ball and look for the next player who's available. The next simplest pass, which is less risky, but which progresses you. So I just wanted to cut in and say that.
Murikona yamadzoka iyi. Then we go back now kuti pama striker edu aya atiri kutaura vatiri kuzomenshena mama number 9. Most of the time if you see kuti havawani bhora because of arina kunge rakaorganizwa kana kuti matambiro ava hazvina game plan. Because kana Murira akabata bhora akakanda mberi, kuna striker richasara rozonosvika ratodefenda kudhara. Handiti maona. So mwana akaita Jonah Fabish inini kwandiri ari fast pabhora rinotodiwa nekocha aripo, it makes sense because Jonah Fabish anoti akabata bhora arichengeta, anongoti akabata bhora obva apa kune next person, akabata bhora otasa ndekupi kwakavhurwa ende ukatasa zvakadzikama nekuti haasi kunorasa bhora, rinorasika here and there but haasi kurasa bhora, ari kuziva pari kuenda kunogara bhora, ari kucreata space, ari kubva apa achinogara. But kana Murwira akatora akarova bamura mhanya, tiri kumhanya futi kunomaka kwataba ikoko, you see. So then
paunoona tinoona bhora rakasiyana ka. There are so many people vaitaura kuti hanzi Fabish is rubbish, is this guy. He's so rubbish that the new coach trusts him to play 290 minutes. But he's that rubbish, yeah? This is when you realize, and I always say this with the utmost respect, and this way is a kutuka vanhu, but ndikuedza kutaura kuti vanhu ka ngatizwe bhora more than what we know, because kana usinga understand the way inotambwa nemunhu musystem ka, you see zvaunoda kuona. Uchiona Fabish achipasa achipasa sideways a lot of passes, pass forward, pass and all that, but without actually thinking why achipasa sideways, why ari kupasa sideways instead again keeping that possession. If you don't understand that, then you're not understanding the game. Secondly, ask yourself a question, why that coach, for someone who is not good, but that coach is trusting him to play 90 minutes. He's actually saying, 2 games. I think he was one of the few who got 90 minutes. I did it. But again, per 2 games. Because the coach knows how valuable that boy is. He knows how valuable he is. You see? This now, instead you're going to argue now. This is when sometimes you have to sit, but you have to sit down. Sorry, light. This is when you have to sit down now and think with this. There's a reason why Coach Ajimutambisa. Now let me look at why he plays him. And you realize the importance Momo in a system. Do you know, let me tell you something. Takataura nyekuti taiti vanhu vese muZimbabwe isusu nekugona bhora kwataita taiti tikaenda kuUK tinonotamba kunana Liverpool what not handiti chiti kunana Manchester kwaikwaya kunotambika handiti until you come here wozwa kuti kutaura nonsense. Yeah. Let me give you an example. Yema players. I've played Vets football. Yeah. Dotamba Vets football in. I've played Vets football from the Emil Heskies and Emil Heskey and Malone Haywood and Kelvin Wilson, so many ex-Premier League players, especially Nottingham Forest, because that's where I live. I've played with those guys. Yeah, did it. And did it, including someone like me, Heskey Danda. But the Heskey Tambora national team, England. Yeah? I Tambora Michael Owen. Yeah? But it's Heskey Danda. Tienda unotamba naye right now akura kudai so, and you realize that you can never get anywhere near him. Ndipo paunozozana kuti zochi zvatine tichiona pabe chinyeberana takagara pasofa nezvinozoita munhu ukazomuona live now, you realize that even someone like Dean Winders aitambura hauya takatamba naye akasimba kudai soka, but you could see that he was outstanding. Isusu tichiita kunge reasonably fit veterans anditi iye chiri chidhafu kudai so, but waiona quality yake kuti zo uyu is different. Uyu akatamba bhora uyu noti redu rekunyeberana reya ratinoita re. That's the same thing zvinoitika even now yekuti we value Premier League yedu because tinoti is the top league in Zimbabwe, but what we forget is that top league in Zimbabwe could be a bottom league somewhere else because we're just not good enough. One saka ukaona when we talking about my players are good, I cannot danzi let's give my local players a chance. It's almost like it's ruguti atidi ma foreign based dika varikudyiwa saka isusu ngatitorechi veda kuti tidyiwe nechi nevedu. So the biggest problem iripo manje ndeyekuti it seems like Zimbabweans are split. Local people, no disrespect, local people mainly the Zimbabwe, they feel kutizo vakaona bhora remuPremier League vakaona murwiri achita zvaari kuita is good enough kutizo ave ari in the national team. As soon as waunza imwe player yekuti anomupa competition because he's coming from, let's just say kana kuti Albania, unonzi wakambonzwa kuti Albania yakamboita zvebhora kuti that player cannot play. But what you're not thinking, you might not have an idea about Albanian football. They might not be your England, your France, your Spanish, but maybe they're actually better at football than your Zimbabwe. But we can't accept that because it's also to note anyone kana usiri kutamba Zimbabwe, you must be playing at a higher level. But at Tarse League yedu, this has got to change. But you know what? At the end of the day, my fans, we can talk as much as we want. But I hope coach now I know realize that these players are Jalai, and then I always sing about him. Jalai will always play for me. Jalai will always play for me. Like I don't have a problem. A local player like Jalai because you can tell, you can see kuti uyumfano ukamisa kana versus Egypt kana versus Cameroon kana dichi, he will hold his own. There's something about him. But a lot of others now have an exposure European football because if you think about it, kana wakunotamba ku AFCON kwakutambwa European football kana uchinotamba ku AFCON. Akusikutambwa Zimbabwean football kutambwa because the majority of players variko ukatasa pane team, I can't remember team ipi yanga ine each World Cup pretty much all their players were like semi-pros kuneme but they were actually doing well. We talked about this, OJ. My players are they were like my league, we have league, my French league, and all that.
We've got Cape Verde and we've got Madagascar as well.
It should be Madagascar.
A lot of my French lower league players. Cape
so
Verde
you see those players.
Portuguese league as well.
But do they play for teams that we know?
No.
If those players were Zimbabweans would not want to see them anywhere near the Zimbabwe national team. If those players were Zimbabwean. And that's the biggest issue, people. Because we look at our league, hyper league yedu first. How good are teams? How good are individuals? Because the individuals are very system, academies. Even if we have academy, by the time he knows 16, 18, he knows how to play. Let me tell you something. Right now, Jalai, I want to know that we are Jalai. Do you know why he won't play Muyuro? Achembera. It's very rare. Could upinde on 26, 27. unonzoita
Yeah,
pro
intensity nephysicality.
intensity and physicality iripo inofanirwe wabuildwa from a young age. Wona saka that's some of the things that tikufanira iron out, but I think what is a coach because he knows that. I don't think he suffers fools, and I don't know I think as a loser network in the Saura Nyaya Khama Billiat he respects in a coach in a Khama.
Drukuta, a bit of feedback from your speaker. I'm not sure you have two speakers or two gadgets.
Maybe
not
there's
me,
something.
yeah?
Oh, okay. Because I think it's my keyboard close to the phone. Okay, I see.
All right.
Yeah.
That's good now.
Yeah. So anyway, I was saying, but can you hear me?
Yeah, can you?
Yeah. I was saying, that's exactly what you do as a coach. Kana coach Ari aga drop a Khama. Amu drop aga. For such a big player who's done so well for Zimbabwe, you don't disrespect him by bringing him in the 55 and then drop him. You might as well tell him right away, Gutizo, I cannot have you in the squad because I'm moving past beyond you. So you're not going to play for us, in the AFCON. So what you don't do is then bring him, because it's almost like you disrespect him. Because you have to realize in football, you treat players the same, but there are players who are more equal than others. You know what I mean? There are certain players you have to give that respect because of what they've done. You cannot compare Khama Nempana Ajango Uyo Weku cannot do any team either it's got squad or drop. What's the fun have got drop? I see water. But to drop Khama out of the 55 is being disrespectful of him. So you tell him, see that Kananim 55, you want him. Kana Usirgumuda, you don't bring him in there. Because all those players were there, but they are not better than Khama. But what he's done is he knows most of them is going to drop them. And Khama, he doesn't want him for whatever, whether we agree with it or not, he doesn't want him in the squad. And he's done the right thing. That's what a coach does. Panebudamuda is also say, no, you've got to go. So I respect the coach for that. And as much as it's bad for Khama, but I respect the fact that he realized that Khama is a very important figure in our football. So you've got to give him the respect that he deserves, and that is respect.
Do you still want to continue from your thought, Malcolm? Or
I think we can proceed. I'll say, my brother Kelvin, that's out of my points. I mean, akawanda, I don't make a sense, I can also especially the Khama Billiat issue, mugumudaidzire squad on 55 mjizera amskwenda naye ku AFCON, that's disrespectful for one of our history yema-footballers edu national team. Khama Billiat arimo mabhuksiwa, so say kudos to coach Marinica.
Did you watch the press conference, Coach Marinica?
Yes, I did.
Okay. What did you get from the any key points that you picked from his press conference?
Yes. So I have to say I was I don't know what happened. Was it kuti my journalists akaenda ikoko vakaudzwa here kana kuti we had a lot like there was a lot of controversy yakabva pacamp yakaendwa and Algeria and Qatar, right? So of course ndaifunga kuti first question ichabvunzwa pasati vatombotanga kutaura zvese ndeunzi coach tikunzonzi
exactly
racial stuff kunetsana nemaplayers chichi I was expecting question iyoyo pakutanga kubvunzwa and hapana kana munhu akamboibvunza press conference so handinofara nazvo. Then also I have to say I like mamwe the answer right my questions. So,
Yeah.
comparing, what I'm comparing and knees.
Yeah.
Michael knees angani kama I mean kushora, it's not kushora here, something.
Yeah.
But Michael knees, he like the way he answered my questions, like, I disrespect my journalists. There's a time yakavhunzwa nyaya I think akavhunzwa kunzi kucoach semasiya pane player ranga rasiyiwa or something, and panguti as a journalist achishonge journalist anopenga, like unopenga yeah, that gesture, like unopenga, and that was really disrespectful, the journalist munhu, akaenda kuchikoro basa iri kana achibvunza question ane zvaakukubvunza, so I have to say Marinica, I like the way interacts and my journalists, even though I feel like my journalists actually my questions are they didn't really ask him the questions that I'll say I was expecting from them. But yeah, pretty much conference, to be honest, I bumbled not anything actually worth writing home about Kwandiri, I'll say that.
Yeah, I think I even asked that question with on the Facebook page.
Oh yeah.
Because when we posted the clip, I was very surprised that after all the noise that we had from Saudi Arabia and Qatar, and every blogger was on to it, every newspaper was
Exactly,
picking
yeah.
it, and then you even have allegations of racism that are labeled against the coach. I think it would have been fair for someone to have the balls to ask him. But then there was someone who answered in the Facebook comment. He said, what Marinica did by winning the game against Qatar meant it was very difficult for any journalist to be sort of antagonistic or to be disrespectful to him. So because he had won the game, he had some sort of capital, it was very difficult to ask. But I think he should have been given a platform to clear himself, or even the question shouldn't be labeled to him, but he should have gone to even Yvonne Mwana, the Manwa, who was the the FIFA Secretary General, I think, to answer that question. Kuti, we heard of allegations of racism. What did you do about them? Were they true? Were they not? Are you going to clear the coach or not? Yeah. I think I found it strange that they just passed it through. But I think also we are just sneaky footy as Zimbabweans. Because in a few weeks you will see the same journalists who were in the hall. When something small happens, they will type it up, but when it comes to asking the question face to face, they won't ask.
Exactly. Yeah. I see
They
that a
won't ask
lot.
the question.
Yeah.
That was very strange. So with Musona in and Billiat out, I think a lot of people were saying we need Musona and Billiat in for experience. So Musona is in for experience. Do you think this coach will continue playing Sona in this withdrawn role that he was being played in with Nice, or he's looking at him as more of a forward?
I can go back to the point, and I'm but there's a car like change topic, right? But like nice one experience and GT. I think when one fara to experience. I think experience diwaga, but msatunzire 12 my players, 13 my players vane experience, atikuda wakawandisa still, I would say pick either or. Kana mutora billiards for experience and then maybe Msona. Let us say Ozoro. Kana matra Msona. It's like right now we acknowledge Msona. It's cool, it's fine, right? Do I think would see coach Vachatamsa knowledge Msona? I doubt. Why? Because this coach Agatha, a fast and the fast play, fast
and intense.
that, and he also mentioned something about him trying to implement, a system where players are younger than the age of 30. you know. So if anything, I think this coach is looking for more of a energetic, fast, quick type of players, you know. Knowledge Sona right now, he's no
He's no
longer
longer
as
there.
quick,
Yeah.
you know. So I think you'll get some minutes, you know. It's knowledge in Son, but I don't think he's going to have much of a big role at the tournament.
You know, when you spoke earlier about Sean Fusire and Jalai,
Yeah.
what I wanted to answer you was, if you noticed the coach, the way he set up his team in those two games, there were two players who he started from the start
Yeah.
in different roles.
In
It
both.
was
Oh,
Jonah
okay.
Fabish,
Mm-hmm.
it was Sean Fusire.
Mm-hmm.
If you noticed the role that Sean Fusire had in that team in that second game, it's a role that I don't think anyone who's not tactically intelligent can do. If you notice
Mm-hmm.
what Sean Fusire was doing out of position,
Mm-hmm.
he was going uh, even to be next to Prince Dube in front, pressing and
Mm-hmm.
trying to create angles where they would force the ball to go sideways, where the Qatar could not hit us. And then when we were in possession, you would come back. You were sort of central, but sort of rightish, where you would combine with Jalai. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So Sean Fusire could not have shown any flair in the role that he had because he was supposed to be pressing and he was supposed to be coming back as well. So he had a very important role together with Jonah there. I don't know if Coach gave you are the
And
more
this
tactical astute one who
th-
can.
this is all the reason why we always have issues regarding our skill and our people confuse football intelligence, with being skillful. You're not, Roy Keane was at football intelligence more than most players by doing, the basic, pass and move, box to box. Yeah.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
So when you look at players like Fusire and Jalai, they're different type of players. They're different type of
yeah,
players. But and what Fusire what Fusire does is different from what Jalai does. And that's the reason why, like rightfully you've said, in that sort of advanced role, you could find that as much as I rate Jalai, I don't think that it's a position that he understands because maybe he hasn't even played there. But someone like Fusire is able to do that role because people don't understand, what like what you were mentioning about being on the ball and off the ball, what you do, how you force a team to play a certain way. Yeah. Those
Mm-hmm.
things, what, it's not something that is very big in Zimbabwe. Players are
yeah,
not coached to understand, those basics, but which are basics, but in most, probably, European football or, the leagues, the higher leagues. So
yeah,
uh, you need, in a team, you need someone like Fusire, you need someone like Jalai as well. So you've got Jalai with what he does, and you've got Fusire who is going to be used. Fusire is so clever that he can be used in different roles. Yeah. But because of
yeah,
his understanding of the game, national teams do not have 3 weeks, 4 weeks training together to be able to play. A coach needs players who are already coached well to because he can easily tell them what to do and they can catch the drift quite easily than players who are not tactically astute. Yeah.
yeah,
So that's the difference. And when you see someone like Jonah, if I ask someone, what Jonah does, they will say, "Oh yeah, he will just go in for a tackle there and win the ball and pass it." And it's very basic. Anyone from the Premier Soccer League can do it. That's because you don't see football. You just see when he has the ball. You're not looking at what he does. I was
Mm-hmm.
mentioning like one move that Jonah did in the game against Qatar, where you realize, that he's got a high IQ. He was he started from the flank. He was marking. He forced the ball to be played away from the player that he just faked like he was going to close him down. He didn't, but they switched the ball and he moved on. to the next player that they were trying to play through, who was on the half 10, and they didn't play it there, and he moved on. By that time, of the third pass, he was on the other side of the pitch. Yeah. Jonah never touched the ball, but Jonah forced Qatar to play in the positions that they didn't want to play. Someone who's not watching who doesn't really understand football will just tell you that he didn't do anything, he was just running. But
Yeah.
that is the reason why that coach likes him, because he knows what he brings in there. Even sometimes, we talk about Mave, yeah, and I know people have been critical of Mave. I've been critical
Yeah.
of him in terms of fitness issues.
Fitness.
Fitness
Yeah.
issues, yeah. But Mave, when he's fit, you can see some of the things that he does naturally. You can tell that this guy,
Yeah. He's
he was
Mm.
coached.
very.
He was coached. He
Yeah.
knows what he's doing, and that's the reason why a fit Mave will be important for us, but especially if we at AFCON, where you don't expect us to go all guns blazing, you
Yeah.
expect us to be a bit more solid defensively. You
Mm.
probably expect Jonah and Mave to play together in
Together.
certain
Yeah.
games, because but you need that solidity in midfield. So if you have two players there who are naturally what they are clever with the way that they play, and one goes one stays, one goes one stays, you see that we'll
Yeah.
probably have a better sort of midfield. We've got Munesi, we've got Rene Mota, we've got Fusida, we've got good players who
Very good
can
midfield.
play
Yeah.
in those sort of roles, yeah. And
Mm.
yeah, so just in a nutshell, to say, the players. When I talk about these players, the players who have been coached, in Europe, it's not a case of we just want players because they're from Europe. It's because of what has been instilled and what comes out as second nature to them. The coach does not have time to start educating a player who's 23, 24,
Yeah.
but on things that someone has been taught when they were 9, 10, 11. So already it's natural to them to do that. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why I say that you can find gems in Zimbabwe. If you look at our players, yeah, even if they were doing like skills and like just skills on during warm up or in training and all that, you see that
Yeah.
probably most of the local players are more skillful than
Yeah.
the uh, the European ones. They're more
Yeah.
skillful,
Yeah.
but the difference is that that skill doesn't mean anything in the game, because these
Yeah.
European based now, they might not have the skill, but when you put them in there and say you're playing in a system, they become
Mm.
animals. They're different.
Mm.
And the biggest issue with our local fans, who have never really been exposed to other football other than maybe the Premiership and Spanish, is that they see, when you go and watch Dynamos and Highlanders
Mm.
and people are whistling and all that, yeah, and you
Mm.
see, but and I always like to bring, the player you say we're going to get into trouble, Denver, yeah. He comes on, he comes on and he's doing, his legs and all that, and the whole ground goes, "Whoa," yeah. That's what we like.
Yeah.
That's what we've always known in Zimbabwe, even from the Mashinkila days, yeah, from Willard Kumalo days, yeah. That's what we like, showmen. We like showmen who does, who excite us doing that. But
Mm.
it's not something that actually works in systems. And
You
so
know,
now they see
ndakatotya kuti
European-based players coming in. Yeah.
ndakatotya kuti kwaka there were a number of people who were calling for Denver on the page when we posted the videos about Msona and Khama, and
Yeah.
I didn't want to reply because
Hmm. Crazy. Yeah.
yeah, I think we have a lack of understanding of because I think I used an example even replying to someone on the page that if we call Francis Chandida right now, I think he's now in his 50s or 60s. If we give Francis Chandida the ball right now, come to Chandida, a pass, a 60-yard pass. Chandida can hit the ball from here straight to the sixpence and do something crazy with the ball. But Does that mean that we should call Francis Candida to play in the national team right now? No. Why? Because football is not just you being on the ball. Football is intensity on and off the ball. It's understanding systems. So it also feeds into the Benza issue. Benza has a lot of shots. Achita Tuma flicks, Achita Tumachi. It's not about those flicks and it's after what you do after that flick. If you flick the ball, are you going to have the energy to run to get the next pass in a pass and move? If you lose that ball, are you going to be able to help your midfield to go back in structure quickly? Because it all happens in milliseconds. So yeah, we don't have that understanding. We don't have that understanding.
Yeah.
I think Kelvin just brought up Andy Renomot. I'm really happy that he's back, and I think he goes straight in back into our midfield, especially if he gets match fit. What do you think about that one?
Obviously, definitely, Andy Renomota deserves a spot in our first 11. However, like I'm really interested. I'm really interested with like Coach Wade and say, acha line up the squadron. We have Marshall Muneti, he's a midfielder. Prosper Padera, midfielder, Marvelous Nakamba, Sean Fusier too, anotamba futhi mid. Tinema mid akwanza stele, so I think andisandanya so nzisisa bhora racoach uyu kuti ndinyazobva but I am a huge fan of Andy Nomota, but in my game akatamba AFCON qualifiers nyazonoti ndo like my midfielder chaiwo chaiwa and especially like na coach and na quick thinking what chichi act fast chichi Andy Nomota as that, so if you're asking me kuti anokwana first 11 or no, I would say yes. Definitely anokwana
first 11.
Yeah.
But one of the funny thing, the player you like, you rate the most, and what are not in starting 11, and did it.
Yeah.
He was struggling to find a team in UK.
Yeah.
Okay, so I guess Panyaye my foreign best players, right? I might maybe my explainer under it. I guess I was a bit too passionate, or emotional. I'll say. I did I didn't mean and the answer I don't see Atiskumada, Pane like Jonah Fabisha Utama Division 3, right? German. But I'll say and Fungo Titina midfielder no major, but like a local midfielder. And major Jonah Fabish mu squad member, is way ahead, like especially from matches problem I've seen him, but I think we can go back to point that's why IoT is a midfielder. Chicha Onoita Usina Bor, Abubakar Moffat is good with the ball, but I haven't really seen him actually, the movements and it's on Amavelas Nakambo, Jonah Fabish, Kanasna Bora, or asikumaga just go vara ma space uti bora sapure ne babo ndo Abubakar Moffat ansana mona angu achidaro kwandiri ndo ma players araisara uti vanonakisa kuona bora remakumbo make so so like, just going back to our point what akasina cloud but hapana muna no major Andy Nomota mu my local leagues here. Let's be honest, sometimes Ngoro, it's just unlike, like player Runongo Shayo club Zaro, but Angari Munebor, you have players like Anara Sterling, I'm a club business, but we know it's in Premier League, I know to Kwana and starting 11, so but I just wanted to say that,
Yeah, you're right. You're certainly a baller. Another interesting selection was Junior Zindoga. I don't know if you guys know Junior Zindoga. I first noticed him when he was at Yada. It seems he's a good player, but he's got very good pace. He's got a very good body, but I think he's not very durable. I've never. I think recently that's when he started to have a run of games.
Yeah.
I checked his stats. This season, I think he's got 1 goal and 1 assist out of probably 10 to 12 games. Last season, I think he had 1 goal as
Yeah.
well. Yeah, so he's playing in the South African League. He doesn't have good stats yet, but I don't know. Have you ever really followed Junior Zindoze?
Yes. I was some of his highlights.
Yeah,
Paitambira team he was playing team yana anzani Daniel Msendami, right?
yeah,
If
yeah.
Daniel Msendami or team yana Elvis Chipezes.
Marum. Yeah, he was in with Marumo. Yeah, Marumo
Yeah.
is
Can I say Marumo Ghana to my guess?
Steve. Yeah.
Okay, Marumo Ghana Diana. I think I think Diana Chipezes,
It was
right?
Marumo. Yeah,
Oh, it's Marumo, not my guess. Okay, yeah.
Yeah,
So yeah, ndakaona my highlights ake, and ndakaona unge dai kunzi anga ari winger aitibatsira stereke, because muZimbabwe hatinyasorina mawinga andakamboona akadaro kuti akapiwa bhora anofamba naro zvaya zveku and ane kadribbling kari paari Genius Ndoga. But honestly speaking, handifungoti anokwana musquad squad redu re. Yeah,
I think we
good
do
player,
have
but
we do have a winger who can do. If you saw, I'm not sure where the coach thinks Chirewa can play, but if you saw the penalty that Chirewa won against
Algeria.
Yeah, it was something similar with the movements that Junior does. Then also watching the Motherwell games, I think Maswani is and just to give appreciation to the young man, he's the current top goal scorer in the Scottish League. Yeah. The way that the coaches use him in Scotland is he stays up high, and it's so that when he receives the passes from the midfield, he's able to affect the game. But what has happened with Maswani, say, with our Warriors, is that he will be too deep. So when he gets the ball, he's fighting against maybe 3 midfielders, and for him to make the transition from the back to the front, it will be too late. Yeah, they would have covered. I don't know what you think.
The biggest problem. The biggest problem I worry about is the system that the coach is using. Kind of nullifies our wide men.
Okay.
Because if he's using that system, it's almost like you were having to drag wide men inside for the wing backs to bomb forward.
Yeah.
And that could be a problem now, because someone like Maswani say, if you think about it now, the only way that they can play is on a half 10.
Yeah.
Because if he's not playing on a half 10, he's not a strong lad. Yeah.
Yeah.
So even in Scottish football is very physical.
Yeah.
But he plays on the half 10. So he plays where he doesn't have to do back to goal and then turn to run towards goal. He's already, he can see where the ball is coming from, and he can see where the ball is going. So it's easier for him when he's playing there. But when he's playing in this formation, if he tucks inside, the more you tuck in, the more congested it becomes, the more you're going to come across challenges. So it makes it difficult now, for wide men, but to actually sort of thrive. So I think about Manchester United formation. It's almost similar. The only difference, though, being that Manchester United will have two central midfielders, and basically hoping for the best. If you play against 3 midfielders in there, but we play with 3, so that means we left with 2. We left with a striker and a winger. So, say for instance, you've got someone like, and in fact, how probably it could work, and you'll be surprised, Ian, because I've been talking about these guys, Musona, where we were saying, should he come in, should he not? And I said, I think he should come in, but it may be as a bit part player. But in a 3-5-2, you probably could be surprised that Musona could actually do a job on the basis that he can be the back to goal striker, and someone like Maswan is playing off him if we're playing in a 3-5-2. Because what you can't afford is just having two quick strikers in a 3-5-2, because if they're not able to get hold of the ball when it's coming from the midfielders, if you're just being pushed off the ball, you're never going to play. You need someone who is a bit of a monster, who's going to fight with the center halves, and your striker, your nippy striker now is sort of feeding on those scraps. So it's going to be interesting that the formation that the coach is going to use, because what I've seen from how I look at that coach, he's sort of a pragmatic in the sense as well that he knows the deficiencies that we have as a national team. And if we play 4-3-3, he knows that we're too open. Do we have the players who can actually, thrive in that formation? From what he's shown, he doubts that, and that's the reason why he's playing three centre backs there and two wing backs. So it's going to be interesting, because I think you could see that our playing now, in AFCON, especially against the Egypts and all that, you could see that we'll probably play a bit more defensive than you would like. But then that's a coach who's trying to get results. He's not thinking much about how we're going to play, because what you have to think of as well, another downside to certain players is he's call for players who are sort of athletic. Because if you're going to press, it's either you're going to sit or you're going to press. You can't have half doing that, half pressing and half sitting. Exactly. you'll be left exposed in gaps. So if he's going to ask players to press, he's going to need players who are athletic, and that's the reason why. And I mentioned this from day one, and I said this coach, I don't think he will pick Billiat, and I've been proved right, because I knew that Billiat is a very good player, but he's a liability in terms of the system, that he wants to play, because Billiat is going to be good on the ball, but he's not going to give the coach anything off the ball. And when he's looking at players like the Maswanis and all that, he expects that young players like that in the Chirewas, they should be able to, hustle and puff, with, but defensively, and they should still have the energy to bomb forward and help the striker, whoever is a lone striker who's left there. You would expect them to do that. You're not going to get that from Khama, because Khama is not going to go deeper to defend and then to come out of there and bomb, to help, our striker. So that's the difficulties, that we have. So I don't think we need to, if I'm being honest, we don't need to read too much into the attacking part of it, because I think that coach is going to try to make us solid before anything.
Okay. So, so Calvin, if you are the coach today, I would make the short list of the strikers that I think will go to AFCON, which is Bonne, which is Ngwenya, which is Msona, and Bonne, Ngwenya, Msona, and the local one, maybe Machope. Navaya.
Yeah.
Who would be your lone striker if we say we are playing a lone striker?
If you're playing a lone striker?
Yeah.
If you're playing a lone striker, I'll play Bonne.
Okay.
If we're playing a lone striker, I'll play Bonne, and if it's not, Bonne, if I'm bringing off Bonne, I'll have to play Musona.
Okay. Machope,
and the only reason why I'm saying that, I've seen Ngwenya, I've seen Machope. Is it Machope? Yeah.
Hmm.
Is it Machope and Navaya as well? what I've seen now is they are, when you're a striker, you've got to be, if you can't score a goal, if you're struggling to score a goal, you've got to be able to do a job that keeps you in the side. Yeah. So if you're not going to score a goal, you've got to be able to hold up the ball, for others. So I'll give you an example. You remember, what's his name? The Dutch international, the big striker who played for Man U and rarely
Um,
scored.
yeah, yeah.
The tall, very
Vegos.
tall lad. Yeah.
Was it
Yeah. Weghorst.
Vegos?
Yeah.
Yeah.
August, yeah.
Yeah, Weghorst. Yeah, Weghorst. He played a lot of games, even for the Dutch when he wasn't
Yeah.
scoring. He would play because you know what, the Dutch will win because of him, because what he would do, off the ball, and when he was, and he would also keep the defenders at bay. Yeah, so
Or
you've got to be able to do something.
The French one, Giroud.
And jury as well, you see. So I think, what, as much as I we talk about Musona, with his age, for now, for the AFCON, if we have Bonnie and we have Musona as alternates, I think they will be the best ones for that role, because you've got to think as well that as much as the coach needs pace in there, you can't
Mm.
just have headless chicken. Yeah, you can't
Yeah.
have headless chicken. You got to have at least players who've got a bit of a brain, who can use their brain, because that's what you're going to get from Musona. Yeah, he's knowing his limitations, and he will try to stay in the right places, for him to be able to effect, play. And that's
Yeah.
why I always thought that he's got to be there. I don't want him as a starter, but I want him to be there. He will be handy. He'll be handy for that team. And
Yeah.
it's the same as Marve as well. Marve with Jonah, the limitations as well on Marve, especially with his fitness. But he's got that brain that if he was playing with someone like Jonah, or if Reno Mota comes in, and it's actually going to be interesting, because if you think about it,
Very.
I don't even know who I would play, because you're talking Jonah, Rinemota, Nakamba, you got Munetsu there as
Munetsi.
well, you got
Yeah,
Yeah.
the midfield
Chirewa,
is.
so
Yeah.
yeah. It's
I think
but
probably
but you know
midfield
what?
is
But it's a
our
good but
best.
it's a good problem. It's a good
Uh,
problem to have. It's a good problem to have. Mm,
we seem to be stacked
Mm.
in midfield than any other
yeah.
positions.
Yeah.
We don't have strikers. We don't have strikers, and I think Bonnie it's a right call, because we really struggle in that. Because you know what, if you look, I've seen so many games where we could have just nicked the goal and be comfortable. Because you see, the problem is if you don't take your chances, yeah, you always under pressure, and as soon as you concede, as a player, you just think, oh, here we go again. We're going to lose again. So that can sort of pull you down. Whereby if you take advantage of that chance and you score, you dictate play. The team wants to play at 100 miles an hour, you play at 20 miles an hour because you are
Yeah.
leading. And that
Yeah.
frustrates, the opposition. But we never put ourselves in a position where we frustrate opposition because we're leading. We always have to chase back, from behind, and teams are now dictating. That's why every team ends up playing like the Barcelona against us, because we're desperate.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah. We are going close to 3 hours now. I think we've
Yeah,
got to stop at some
and,
point.
uh, and someone here is going to leave you very soon
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
I've got to get ready. I'm going to work early in the morning. Yeah,
Okay,
Yeah.
that's great.
yeah,
But thanks, Malcolm, for the first episode. It was
Yeah.
good that we want people who stand their ground as well and present views, because we always
yeah.
disagree really
Yeah. Great
I
respectfully.
like
episode.
I like I like Malcolm. He's a good lad, and
Yeah,
I like as well. Someone who comes up with stuff, and I can tell straight away that you're a proper football person. And
yeah,
you
Appreciate
you
it.
know and the one thing I respected about you is you have your ways of thinking on certain things, and if someone explains to you, you're not that person who's listening to argue. You're listening
Yeah.
because you want to understand, and that's a great asset. Because we all learn. There's things that I didn't know and I learned from others. And I could argue my case and say, "Oh, no, no, you're wrong in this," and then they explain to me, and I'm thinking, "Oh no, yeah, they're
Yeah.
right." So it's good because we don't know it all. No matter, even if I could be older than you by however many years, but you could still pick something, that I don't, pick. And you say, you know what, Kelvin, you got it. You said blah blah blah, but look at here, this A B C D, and I'm like, oh yeah, you know what, I get it. That's football. There's so many in football. You can have three answers to the same thing sometimes.
Yeah.
And all
Yeah,
the
that's
answers will be
true.
right.
That's
Yeah.
true.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
And I'll
that's
say,
true.
yeah,
Um, yeah, I hope when we start discussing on Facebook, we have people with the same mind as you,
yeah.
because Zimbabweans are not joker,
no,
and
Yeah.
on Facebook
yeah,
we've had to put certain keywords on
Mm.
comments because we don't want to be toxic on our page.
Yeah.
We want to discuss clean football, and we accept people who come in and disagree, but they come in on a point, yeah, football, and it.
Mm.
But
Yeah.
yeah.
I
You're
don't.
right.
I close my ears because
Someone,
yeah.
someone who, like now you could just have someone coming in. Oh, Dimama coach manja did. Dima
Yeah.
we say it.
But
Yeah.
I wonder, some people, are they not exposed to there are a lot of football podcasts and fan
Yeah.
podcasts in the world who discuss football.
I
So
don't know. I don't
sometimes I
know.
Mm.
wonder, is it lack of exposure? Then you go to look at the profile picture of the person, then you see, oh, okay, why
Yeah,
should I bother?
yeah. And
Yeah.
and I do that a lot. Someone who says stupid things, I just go and look on the profile, and when I see the profile, probably get into their pictures, and I said, and I'm like, oh, okay, all right then. I'm not going
Yeah,
to argue. Okay.
yeah, then why should I bother? But yeah, as Zimbabweans, we
Yeah,
need to learn to disagree with respect and bring our points and argue on points, and that's
yeah,
it. Um, you know what
yeah,
I've learned in Koma Kevi?
yeah,
Munhu wauri kurafura sometimes pane mumwe munhu anongouya achiti idiot, and he's
yeah,
talking to someone like Mkoma Ray. If just
yeah,
looking at age, yeah, I'm Koma Ray, just looking at age, I'm Koma Calvin, you never know where
mm,
you meet those people. And in life,
yeah,
I've met so many people who've told me, ah, Mfanewo, I've known you since kudhara ndakakuona pakati. And then I thank
yeah,
my God kuti, when I met him, I was in good behavior, and now Bomrafra and Rombomida say, So,
Mhm.
yeah,
yeah, yeah.
we've got to learn. We
Do
don't
you, do
want
you
to
know? Do you
act.
know? Sometimes, in I expect it, respect comes in either ways. As an older person, I should respect the young ones, and the young ones should be respecting the older ones as well. Some of
Yeah,
the times, the problem that we have is when the young ones, you are trying to educate them. By
yeah,
educating, you're not saying that I know it all, but what you're saying is, let's just say we're talking about football, and I start telling you about the 90s football. You probably
yeah,
were not born, or you were 2 or 3 years old. So it's upon you to listen and sort of learn from that, because what I'm telling you is what I witnessed, and you did not witness it. So you only, so the football knowledge you would have is limited to the time when you grew up, and I'm giving you 20 more years before you to
Mhm.
understand, how different, things are. So even
yeah,
when we're talking about the game, when I talk about us playing, we didn't play. I last played in Zimbabwe, what, 23 years ago. That's the last
yeah,
time I played football in Zimbabwe. Yeah. And a
Mhm.
lot has changed, but there's a lot of experience I've had as well in those 23 years. So I can only share them. So if I share even the situation about the levels, I always say I'm not dissing ourselves. I'm being truthful, because we were the ones who thought we were better than these English Premier Leagues, because we thought we've got the skill, because we did not know. And then I came here and I said, "Oh my God, I was such a rubbish player." But I'm saying I was a rubbish player in terms of understanding the game.
Yeah. So why would I want to take the mick out of myself? Instead, I should be saying, takatouya takatozvabva zvavarungu kuno takatoida iso takatoada iso ndo yedu yechizimbabwe yet she's the bigger and it, but we talking the truth kuti no, we way behind. But then we've got a lot of our brothers who are back home. We have not been exposed to any football other than Premier League. And my notion the game avana now are different because inini right now ndogonosimuka ndogonogudza kuti nhasi Friday ndikuenda kunoona step 6 football. Ndogonogudza kuti kunoona step 8 football. Ndogonogudza kuti ndikuenda kunoona Sunday League football. Do you know I'll tell you something interesting, Zunidza. But where do you live, sorry, by the way?
Stayed in the United States, Cincinnati. City called Cincinnati.
Cincinnati, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of is there a lot of Sunday League football there?
Not really, but we have FC Cincinnati, the one
Not really.
the team,
the one
the team. Yeah. So and it's pretty it's a pretty good team, you know, MLS wise. You know, I mean, why it's not a conversation, but that was.
Do you know what? Do you know what? Why I raised the issue here, Sunday League football? People you hear people from Zimbabwe, local people saying, Zimbabwean football, Matigra on a Sunday League. Do those people actually know that Sunday League is actually some of the Sunday League football is actually better than the semi-professional? You know why? Because there's a lot of leagues here. My leagues like my top leagues is Sunday League. My players and tamba semi-professional. So a player could be playing in Conference North, but they've got a Sunday League team. So they play Saturday and Sunday. So if you go to Notre watch my games sometimes, especially when I am cup finals, some of the best football you watch is Sunday. It will be Sunday League football. Exactly like zvaitika kudhara isusu tichiri vapfana taitamba chiti tikutamba chekupremier league kana off season money game maplayers ekepremier league anenge achi kumoney game saka kune kuchirova bhora rakaipa kupfuura kana division 1 because kuri kutambwa nevanhu vepremier league but vari kutamba money game. You see, so there's a lot of lack of knowledge in Evano when they comment or they say things, they don't have the full picture of what goes on around here. Saka sometimes now when you try to help people, they think that you are being arrogant because so you're saying you know better. But in a way, I might know because in Zimbabwe and Zimbabwe as well. But if they ask them, they only know about Borareshi, Zimbabwe Premier League. That's all. Because I can guarantee you, how many people will not go to on a Premier Soccer League in Zimbabwe and on a team Division 1 as well.
Yeah, sure.
Langan.
Yeah,
sure.
You see. Yeah. Anyway, it's been good.
You need to address your brother.
So, I mean, like, you know, first of all, I would like to thank you guys for, you know, adding me in the conversation, insightful conversation, I'll say. You know, of course, looking forward to the next. We have AFCON coming. We have AFCON in December. I know it will be busy. It's December.
I can hear you, though, guys. I'm taking this off, but I can hear you.
All right.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah, you know, I can. December is going to be a busy time for us, so I'm excited for that. You know, a lot of knowledge. You know. Okay, now going to the issue. My brother, teenager Debbie. You know, a player like Lionel Messi, Munoti Wantu is the greatest player to ever play. But you know, an appeal to Messi, Mobopura, you know, how many Ballon d'Ors? 8, 7, you know, and you know, like Munumuombe. So, kuti upiwe jezi nemnakadaroga. Eroriendesa se gifts kuna Scott. Why? Like, why are you doing that? considering futhi uri mina utamba level raukutamba ka riri nani to point yaro kuti kunzi even ukazosiya bhora uenda kuZimbabwe you don't necessarily even need to play so ekunzi player yaro kuti akudozotsvaga kuwana mafavors kuti achimboyotamba kuScotland kana I feel like I don't know kuti
and I've heard rumors that he's actually getting renewed at FC
Cincinnati. Yeah, because so why don't we end this? But FC Cincinnati just released roster vanhu vari kuenda and teenager adeba amo mulist seems like I guess coach akastanga mufarire the season yaudonopere GG.
Okay.
So funny enough, he's also getting a lot of backlash about that issue. But not kuti akapa scored but vanhu vakuti mapedzoro a 4-0 game richingopera unokumbira jezi. That's embarrassing. So
please go into English because I want my AI to pick this.
Okay, so apparently the Americans are not happy about teenager Debe asking for Lionel's Messi jersey as soon as the game ended. They were saying that was a bit embarrassing. He just got battered 4-0, and here you are, asking for Lionel Messi's jersey.
But this is Messi, come on.
Yeah, so yes, I mean, of course, we have a lot of people defending him as well, saying it's sportsmanship, and also it's Lionel Messi. Who wouldn't want Lionel Messi's jersey? So it's an ongoing debate.
I
I'll
saw
say.
the female opponent who blasted him.
Yeah. So that was fun. But like just going back to that thing of him gifting Scott Sabanya the jersey. If it was me, I wouldn't do that. Why? Like, why are you doing that? Maybe unless you sell it, for $1 million or something, that would make sense. But it just as a gift for what exactly? I don't get it. Dopa nostanga kuyama conspiracy theories evanhu manje unzi our national team is captured. Because vana, chii chikuitika, chii chikunyasoitika. Player anotambira maOrioles haana ma-relations neScotland FC, but you're gifting your precious gift zvakadaro, like precious thing zvakadaro na now ndopanositanga kutaura vanhu ipapa going back nyaya dzana Asia Gate nonanzira kuti magame ari kutengeswa chichi so I don't know, that was just funny to me.
That was strange, and
that was strange.
I think it even adds on to that other leaked video of Arubi and Mave and who was the other player?
I think it's Msona.
And was it Msona? Water.
Msona Junior, yeah.
Right after the game,
oh, no, that one. Oh, that was Arubi, Nakamba, and
Adebe.
Was it Adebe? I might have forgotten.
I don't know.
No, it's not Mure.
Who was there? Yeah. And
but I remember the video.
After the game with South Africa,
yeah,
you are still in the dressing room.
And
the first thing that you do is to call Scott.
Who is he? Is he the ZWFootball president? Like, what's his position in that national squad? So yeah, that was strange. Yeah, I guess strange is the right word to say. That was strange. That was a bit strange. Yeah.
Yeah, it was really strange. Yeah, a lot of strange things happen.
Yeah.
Football. A lot of strange things happen. Do you have anything that you think we've left out? I think. Yeah.
We talked about. I think we kind of tackled a lot of. Unfortunately, we lost some of our brothers. I know they also have some different perspectives on a lot of stuff. So but I'll say it was quite. It was pretty interesting. Talk. It was a good talk.
It was a good talk.
Productive. Educational.
That's good.
Yeah, Calvin.
I think my battery is actually going because I get switched. Okay. So it's been good anyway. Nice seeing you, Malcolm. Hopefully you join us. You regularly join us. It's good to.
Looking forward to it.
Yeah, looking forward to it. Yeah, those who are watching, thank you for staying with us for so long. We can't help it but keep on talking about football because we all love it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So please share your thoughts, share the links, subscribe, bring your views respectfully, of course. Bring
Yeah.
your views; they're always welcome. Disagree with us in a football manner, and yeah, everything. I think when is the 11th? Unless some drama comes up, we should. The 11th is Tuesday next week, but one. Okay. I know some drama will come up next week.
Of
We'll
course.
find a day that we'll speak again. But I think
Yeah.
by the 11th, we'll have the 23-man squad, so we'll be able um, to discuss the 23-man squad then next week.
Yeah.
And yeah, we'll see the direction that the coach is taking. Yeah.
Sure.
But yeah, peace out. Thank you.
Peace out. Thank you very much.
Cheers.